Good evening and welcome to the June 16th edition of the Clawson City Council. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I am going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I invite those who wish to join me to do so. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item is Words of Inspiration. This evening, it is brought to us by Councilmember Spisak.
All righty. I originally had somebody coming out to say the words of inspiration, but they got stuck at work. So as we begin tonight's meeting, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the strengths that comes from community. Our city is at its best when every person feels seen, valued, and welcomed. When we are neighbors before we are anything else, connected by our shared hopes for our families, our communities, and our futures. The diversity of our experiences and perspectives is not something that divides us, but something that enriches us and helps us grow. In our time when differences can often become barriers, we may choose understanding over judgment, respect over division, and kindness over indifference. Let us remember that a strong community is built on not only through roads, buildings, services, but through the simple acts of treating one with dignity and compassion. As we conduct the people's business this evening, may we do so with open minds, generous hearts, and commitment to ensuring that every resident knows they belong here. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett.
Present.
Councilmember Duberstein.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Here.
Councilmember Pelton.
Here.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Here.
Councilor Spisak.
Present.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
All right, we have a full house. Our next item on the agenda is is approval for the agenda. I almost messed up, but I didn't. Approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move for the approval of the agenda as presented.
Support.
Seeing no one going to make discussion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Duberstein.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes. All right, now our next item on the agenda is public comment for items on the agenda. If you wish to speak to items on the agenda, I invite you to the podium. You will be given 4 minutes to speak. We ask that you state your name and whether or not you're a resident of our fair city. And so if anyone would like to speak to items on the agenda, I welcome you to make your way to the podium. I don't see anyone getting, oh, there we go.
I'd like to see if somebody else wants to talk. Jamie Gillis, Takanochi, Clawson resident. First, I want to note that the presentation for the infrastructure bond update was not on the original packet. As far as I know, it was added yesterday or today. I think I checked on Sunday, but I'm not sure. I am used to things being added at the last minute, and I don't think that's right. So residents who reviewed the agenda in advance may not know this information was added, and those who did see it were not given sufficient time to review the material and prepare questions. The administration frequently speaks of transparency. Providing a major presentation on the day of the meeting does not give residents a meaningful opportunity to review that. It's not transparent. In addition, the structure of the report is incomplete from a financial accountability standpoint. It shows completed projects through photos and narrative descriptions, and it lists future work with associated costs in the priority list. However, it does not attach dollar amounts to completed works, making it impossible to understand how much of the bond has been spent to date or how that spending compares to what was originally planned. For the future work that is listed, it is also not clear whether those cost estimates include inflation, which is considered best practices for long-term capital planning. Without this clarification, the projected costs may not reflect the true amount required to complete the remaining projects. As a result, residents do not have a clear comparison between what was originally budgeted, what has actually been spent on completed work, and what is being projected for remaining work. Looking through the presentation, I only see the original projections and updated projections. Residents should be able to see not only what has been completed, but what each project was originally expected to cost compared to that actual cost. That information is necessary to evaluate how the bond program is performing. We are also being shown a new priority list. Are the projected costs for those projects adjusted for inflation? This has been raised to council multiple times as best practices. Without inflation-adjusted estimates, residents cannot accurately understand what can realistically be completed with the remaining bond funds. I would also like to know how much of the remaining bond funds are expected to be consumed by inflation alone. That would help residents understand the true purchasing power of the remaining funds and whether the projects on this list are realistically achievable. I would ask that any and all future bond update presentations include original estimates, actual project costs, inflation-adjusted projections for remaining projects, and the estimated impact of inflation on the remaining bond issues. That way, residents can make informed evaluations of the program's progress. Since I have a little bit of time, I know that in a meeting, I think it was the budget meeting, the administration talked about wanting to ask for another bond in the near future. If you can't show us you are using our money wisely now, if you refuse to put those things into place that you've been asked many times to do, and even some council members, then I don't know how you would expect the residents to vote for another bond. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda? All right. I see no one else getting up, so we will move on to our next item, which is proclamations and presentations. Our first is the Clawson Police Department Annual Awards presentations.
Last year we had this set up facing the other way. Is there a way to change it now, or is it? Yeah, is there? Okay. I don't want to pull any cords out of the wall. All right. Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, Council. Exemplary performance by the Police Department personnel is recognized through our established awards recognition program throughout the year. Exemplary performance not only enhances the image of the police department and law enforcement profession, but also the community. Members of our police department are encouraged to submit recommendations for awards when they observe a colleague performing an act which deserves this recognition. The awards board, which includes myself and 2 members of the police department, 1 from the patrol union and 1 from the command union, meets annually to review all recommendations for awards from the previous year and votes on the determination. Tonight, we will be presenting 12 awards. The very first award presented to you tonight is a life-saving award. On February 8th, 2025, at approximately 10:22 a.m., Officer Sarah Tolman and Sergeant Scott Vurick were dispatched to Nick's Country Oven on a report of a person not breathing. Customers were beginning CPR. Upon arrival, officers located a male citizen laying on the ground who was unconscious and not breathing. Officer Tolman took over CPR, beginning compressions, while Sergeant Vurick used our department AED to deliver shocks to the citizen's heart. After a second shock was delivered and rounds of CPR were conducted, a faint pulse was found. The resident regained consciousness and later made a complete recovery. Officer Tolman's quick response, recognition of the severity of the medical emergency, and immediate life-saving actions resulted directly in saving the life of this person. For her dedication to the community, Officer Sarah Tolman is hereby awarded the Life Saving Award on the 16th day of June, 2026. Our next award is a civilian citation. That's the formal name for the award. Sometimes when we say that, it sounds like they're getting a ticket, citation, but it's not. It's an award. On April 5th, 2025, the Clawson Police Department was dispatched to a vehicle crash involving a vehicle fully engulfed in flames. Officers arrived on scene to assist the fire department and interview witnesses. Mr. Andrew Fallon, a citizen, observed the crash while he was traveling in the area of 14 Mile and Main Street. Mr. Fallon observed the vehicle was on fire and pulled over to assist the occupant. Mr. Fallon, with the assistance of other bystanders, was able to access the vehicle through the trunk and eventually assist the disoriented driver with exiting the vehicle while it was still fully engulfed in flames. Additionally, Mr. Fallon was able to prevent this impaired driver from returning to his vehicle to obtain his personal belongings and possibly attempt to flee the scene, all while the vehicle was still on fire. Andrew Fallon is hereby awarded the Civilian Citation Award on the 16th day of June, 2026, for performing this meritorious action and providing life-saving aid to another with complete disregard for his own safety. Andrew Fallon. Our third award is a commendation. In May of 2025, the Clawson Police Department was dispatched to a series of breaking and entering and larcenies from automobile incidents throughout the city. Detective Tracy demonstrated exceptional investigative skills while following up on this series of break-ins. Through diligent detective work, including thoroughly reviewing the video footage and analyzing key evidence, Detective Tracy was able to identify and apprehend this offender, which resulted in the successful closure of numerous cases and a conviction for the offense. This outstanding effort not only brought those investigations to a conclusion, but it helped ease the fear and concern within the affected areas of Clawson for crimes that don't usually occur here. Detective Ryan Tracy is hereby awarded a commendation on the 16th day of June, 2026. Excuse me for 1 second now, the order got in. Here it is. Ryan, you can stay up here. I'll also have Sergeant Fowler, Officer Nikolov, now Detective Nikolov, come on up here, along with Detective Sergeant Horn, Officer Rands. All right, you guys can come on up here. And Sergeant Korb. So we have a couple officers on a call right now. We'll proceed. On May 22nd, 2025, Sergeant Fowler and Officer Nikolov were dispatched to a report of a shooting. Officer Nikolov began rendering CPR to the victim while Sergeant Fowler secured and managed the tragic crime scene. Their swift actions under highly stressful and rapidly evolving circumstances exemplify the department's commitment to preserving life and saving and serving the community during critical incidents. Sergeant Fowler and Officer Nikolov's compassion, calm demeanor, and unwavering professionalism in these moments during this incident are worth special recognition. Also adding that Officer Nikolov actually accompanied the paramedics in the ambulance. He rode in the back of the ambulance, applying pressure to the gunshot wounds en route to Royal Oak Beaumont Hospital, while Sergeant Fowler stayed on scene, gathering some pretty critical information and collecting surveillance footage from nearby business. Detective Sergeant Horn and Detective Tracy responded from their homes to the scene and immediately assumed responsibility for the investigation. Sergeant Korb and Officer Brozich also responded from their home to assist with execution of the search warrant and also to assist detectives with following up on investigative efforts. Evidence technician Officer Rands processed evidence from the scene and ensured preservation and collection of evidentiary items. The thorough investigation conducted by Detective Sergeant Horn and Detective Tracy was key to the successful resolution of this case. The dedication, professionalism, and coordinated efforts of all these personnel were instrumental in the successful apprehension of this offender and contributing to the securing the conviction in this case. So we have some awards here for that. It's a departmental unit award. So this one, the Nicola. Sergeant Fowler. Tracy. Coroner. These two are on a call. Our next award is a departmental citation award. On July 12th, 2025, while working proactive patrol on the midnight shift, Sergeant Fowler located a stolen motorcycle at the Comfort Inn Hotel. Through investigation, he learned that this motorcycle was associated with a very dangerous motorcycle gang who later was found to all be staying at the Comfort Inn Motel in Clawson. With assistance of other officers, Sergeant Fowler was able to impound the motorcycle. Investigation found that the bike also had stolen license plate on it, and inventory of the side saddles led to the recovery of stolen firearm. Sergeant Fowler's initiative was praised by the Midwest Cycle Intelligence Organization of Michigan and the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Fowler's bravery, outstanding performance, and contribution to law enforcement depict professional excellence. Sergeant Fowler is hereby awarded the departmental citation on this 16th day of June, 2026. Our next award is a Civilian Citation Award. On January 29th, 2025, Vincent Nader was walking his dog with his mother when they witnessed an assault. Mr. Nader, a juvenile, called 911 to summon emergency services and remained calm while providing dispatchers with critical information. Mr. Nader was later interviewed by Clawson police officers on what he witnessed and provided a written statement. The command officer who oversaw this incident recommended Mr. Nader for this award. At the time of this incident, like I stated, Mr. Nader was a juvenile, and Sergeant Vurick, who was the commander, wrote, "Vincent was mature beyond his age and was very helpful to the police department with their investigation. The information he provided led to the apprehension of the suspect and successfully connecting a victim with much-needed services. For his action, Mr. Nader is hereby awarded the Civilian Citation Award on this 16th day of June, 2026. We have a civilian commendation, again. This one is awarded to a citizen who has supported the police department and made significant contributions to the cause of good law enforcement. Police Chaplain Stephen Traxel of Grace Apostolic Church has generously committed his time and services to the Clawson community by volunteering for his role as police chaplain since 2017. In addition to being an on-call professional volunteer for the community for over a decade, nearly a decade, he donates the use of his facility for police training and other services when needed. Since December 2023, Chaplain Traxel has served as the co-coordinator of the Clawson Police Department's peer support team and provides support during and after critical incidents. Demonstrating his commitment to professional development and his service to our community, he voluntarily attended the Chaplain's Police Academy at the Oakland Police Academy in 2024. Chaplain Traxel is committed to the well-being of every department employee, regularly checks in with staff, and offers his guidance, encouragement, and a listening ear when needed. His passion and dedication to the Clawson Police Department and our Clawson community doesn't go unnoticed. Chaplain Traxel is hereby awarded the Civilian Commendation Award on this 16th day of June, 2026, and I understand he's out of town. His sons are here to accept the award. Are they here? Yep. All right, we have three more awards. We have a Community Service Award. In March of 2025, Officer Barnett spent several weeks learning the COPS Care program in each individual participant. This CPD program supports the independence of seniors as they age in place while focusing on preventing senior citizens from becoming victims of crimes, connecting them with services, and providing emergency and preventative care more efficiently. In July of 2025, Officer Barnett took over this program and took initiative to improve the structure and operation of it. Officer Barnett's hard work and initiatives and working collaboratively with the community have aided in solving community problems and providing quality services aimed at improving the quality of life for the citizens of Clawson. It is often the small acts like these that have some of the greatest impact. Officer Barnett is hereby awarded the Community Service Award on this 16th day of June, 2026. We have a commendation that was requested and put in by a citizen. On March 25th, 2025, Sergeant Scott and Officer Wiles were dispatched to a family trouble on East Baker Street in Clawson. While officers were investigating on scene, Sergeant Scott recognized that one of the family members was suffering from a mental health crisis and was in need of substance abuse treatment. Sergeant Scott went above and beyond to connect the citizen with the needed services. The family stated this in a letter and also praised Sergeant Scott for this help that he provided their family that day. This resident advised that their son completed inpatient rehabilitation, was sober, and on the road to success thanks to the help of Sergeant Scott. They attributed this in part to his professionalism and compassion. A commendation is awarded for performing a valuable service to the community and outstanding performance of general duties. Sergeant Scott is hereby awarded the Commendation Award on this 16th day of June, 2026. You can stay up here. During Sergeant Scott's 23-year tenure with the Clawson Police Department, he has distinguished himself as an invaluable member of the organization. Throughout his career, he has consistently demonstrated dedication to the department and his fellow officers and the citizens of Clawson. Sergeant Scott has overseen the department's firearm training program for many years. He provided years of steadfast support to police chiefs through personnel coordination, budget preparation, inventory management, technology implementation, and major incident planning for many years. Sergeant Scott manages the department fleet, facilitates the completion of FOIA and discovery requests, and successfully led the department's transition to the Axon platform in late 2024. He continued to provide troubleshooting and oversight into this Axon initiative, throughout 2025. His leadership extends to mentoring future leaders and training personnel to assume responsibility for coordinating major community events. Specifically, he's been working with Sergeant Fowler to transition Sergeant Fowler in charge of the 4th of July. Sergeant Scott has been in charge of the 4th of July for over the last 10 years. His commitment to excellence is further demonstrated this past fall in 2025 through his leadership and self-initiated enforcement activity within the community for a couple months in a row. Beyond formal responsibilities, Sergeant Scott has served as a trusted mentor to officers of all experience levels. His guidance and dedication regularly earn praise and expressions of appreciation from department employees and other personnel and community members alike. In recognition of his dedication, leadership, and commitment to public service and contributions to the Clawson Police Department for the last 23 years, Sergeant Scott is hereby awarded the 2025 Officer of the Year on this 16th day of June, 2026. Thank you for your time.
Chief, before you sit down, I walked in, and there's a ironic connection to the Mr. Fallon, the citizen that you gave an award to. I grew up next to his mother, and I have not seen his mother since she was pregnant with him. We were both pregnant with our first children, visiting our parents 34 years ago on my parents' porch. And it was just crazy. I walked in and they're like, oh my goodness. So yeah, there's just a crazy connection to.
Is Mom here tonight?
Yeah, she's right there. Yeah, it was just a crazy connection. I just thought I'd share it because that's just wild. So thank you, everyone. Congratulations to, and we appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Anyhow, 34 years I haven't seen her. She's my neighbor. Anyhow, there was. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll continue to revel in the craziness. I thought that's where they were going to have the recipients sit or something, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought, but. All right. All right. Our next item on the agenda is the Infrastructure Improvement Bond 2024 and CTT TV findings update. And I believe
He did. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Excuse my attire. I just came from a girls' softball game. So But we're going to quickly go over our, well, maybe not so quickly, but our infrastructure improvement bond 2024 and CCTV update. My name is Ryan McDonald. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of the DPW. Sitting in your front row tonight, Trevor Zablocki is the superintendent, and Mike Smith is our engineering consultant from AEW.
Before you get started, can I ask a question?
Sure can.
So do you want us to hold all questions to the end or interrupt you as you go?
I'm going to have a sections for questions after kind of each major point.
Perfect.
All right. So the presentation summary, we're going to go over a quick overview of the combined sewer system, overview of some of the current programs we have nearing completion right now, which is our TMF water service identification and our CCTV. We will pause for questions right after that. Then we're going to go into our sewer rehab projects, some of our road flooding concerns, and we'll have questions right after that. We are going to then go over our priority list, which has since been adjusted for some of these projects that are going on. Go over some of our current projects, have some questions after that, and then we will conclude with an irrigation water meter discussion that was brought up at one of the recent council meetings that we were asked to discuss, and we will have questions after that. All right, so moving forward, a quick overview. I found this, it's not a perfect diagram, but I found a pretty good diagram on the internet. It is almost perfect just for the mere fact that the city of Clawson, let's see if I can get this. Oh, there we go, little laser pointer. This downspout, we do not allow downspouts to be directly connected to our storm and sanitary sewer. So if you could just cancel that portion out. The rest of this diagram is pretty good. So we're going to quickly go over what our storm and sanitary sewer is. So this pipe right here, it's like a cross section of a house and street. So this is the city sewer. All right, so a combined sewer means that it is storm and sanitary. So the storm portion of that is our catch basins. So along the roads, along the curb lines, you will see grates. A lot of them have restricted lids, so they'll either have 4 or 6 holes in those lids. That is for rainwater or storm water. So those would go into these catch basins. Once they hit the level of these pipes, then they will float into our sewer system. All right, so the water would collect on the road. Light rainfalls would then, once it reaches that pipe going into the mainline sewer, that would be the storm portion of our combined sewer system. So the sanitary portion are all of your homes. So anything that you would flush down a toilet, a dishwasher, washing your hands, anything that's going down any of your drains in your pipe would go through your sanitary sewer lateral, which is the laterals from the mainline sewer into the mainline sewer, which is the responsibility of the city is the mainline sewer and the catch basins. So anything outside of that would be the responsibility of the homeowner. So that would be the sanitary sewer lateral up to and including the tap. So some of the issues that residents run into are things like you might have a loose joint or a loose connection at your tap. You could have poor drainage going back towards the home. You could have blocked weeping tile, which is the drainage around your home. You could have cracks from anything from debris or ground shift or trees. You could have issues with your clean outs. You can have issues with cracks in your foundation or your cement floor, cracks in your wall, or if anybody has egress windows, you can get water penetration through there. So everything on this side, everything circled in red would be the responsibility of a homeowner. So these sections right here, this mainline sewer and the 2 catch basins is the responsibility of the city. So we do get calls about water backing up into homes during heavy rainfalls. Typically, we need to have a couple homes in a row to be able to really concern ourselves with the possibility of our sewer having an issue. So the mainline sewer, if that backs up, every home on that block is going to have an issue. So if you are the single person that is having a backup in your home, it is quite possibly one of these many issues between your home and the mainline sewer. So just kind of keep that in mind throughout this presentation. Moving forward, I am told that we are having some issues with the audio for the video. So quickly, I will go over it. It's not, again, it's not a perfect video. It will be posted on our website. And basically what the video states is most sewer systems, especially in this area, are all gravity fed. So we don't have any pump stations. We don't pump raw sewage from one place to another. Everything is gravity fed, and in the city of Clawson, everything flows basically from the north to the south. So there are county sewers strategically placed throughout our city. Our mainline sewers range mostly from 10-inch to 21-inch, and those periodically get larger, which helps with the elevation, which helps with gravity feeding the system. So for instance, if you have a lot of rainfall in that one of the smaller pipes in our system, say a 10-inch pipe, that can get overwhelmed at one point. And the system is designed to basically let that water sit on the road until the system can catch up. So that water sitting on the road allows that water to slowly enter the system and not overwhelm the system, because if it does overwhelm the system, like I just said, that mainline sewer does have a major backup that will affect homes along that path. So the whole point of a gravity-fed system is basically it's going to gradually, the pipes are going to gradually get bigger until they get to the mainline sewer, or the county sewer, sorry. So that, and a synopsis of that video is basically our system is gravity-fed. We do not have any pumps in our system. Some of the results that we've been waiting for. So right now we have two programs that are finishing up. Our water service investigation. It is funded by the TMF grant through EAGLE. That is the Community Technical, Managerial, and Financial Support and Lead Line Replacements. The contractor doing that work is ML Chartier. They are identifying 678 likely lead or unknown water services. So our records basically tell us what the service material is made out of. So the state has a mandate that says that all service material has to be there can't be any lead or galvanized piping as of, I believe it's 2041. So we need to replace all that, and that cost, unfortunately, is on the city to do. So the state has all these grandiose ideas about how to make things better, but they don't give us any money to do it. So we went out and we found this TMF grant, which is fully funding this portion of the project. So at the end of this portion of the project, we will know all of our service line materials, so then we can have a plan moving forward for all the replacements which need to be done by 2041. The other big project that is nearing completion right now is a sewer cleaning and CCTV program. So that is supported and reimbursed by Infrastructure Improvement Bond 24. The contractor that was doing that work was Rogue Industrial Services, and they were tasked with cleaning, investigating, and televising city sanitary sewer, and that is about 43 miles of sewer. So most of our sewers in town range from 10-inch to 48-inch, or all of our sewers range from 10-inch to 48-inch. And they were inspecting all taps along the way, which include any residential tap that they went by. They would stop and inspect to be able to call out repairs as needed. So to go a little bit deeper into the water service investigation by EAGLE is we are complying with the lead and copper rule, which is to identify all lead services. And I know a lot of people who have lead services have been getting letters from us yearly. That is another part of the state mandate. We have to yearly notify you that you have a lead service and it has not been replaced yet until it is replaced. So the state requires us to put certain verbiage in there. Some of that verbiage is quite scary. Just so you know, to help comply with the lead and copper rule, we have our water tested every week. We also have lead services tested. So I believe it's 30 lead services that are in our pool that are tested. We've never had anything at or above the action level in all the time that we have been testing these lead service lines. So to complete this program, we have about 15 external investigations remaining. So the investigation, which a lot of people might notice, they were potholing on either side of your stop box. So there's corporation stop. So this cross-section this is the water main here. The corporation stop is one of the ways that the city can turn off your water to your home. If you notice, it is directly underneath the street. The other is a curb stop. So a curb stop is where we can turn the water off to your home from outside the home. And typically inside the home, you would have gates and valves that you can also shut your water off. So the intelligent way to do this is the least destructive. So to be able to dig holes in the grass at the curb stop to be able to tell, because we need to identify 3 of 4 locations along this service line. And those 3 locations are either at the main, either side of the stop box, or in the home. So if we were to do at the main, we would have to dig up the city street to be able to do that. So that is not very cost effective, and it would be very messy, very dirty, and very expensive. So the correct way to do this is what we are doing, and we are potholing either side of the curb stop, identifying that, and unfortunately, we have to get inside your homes to identify the pipe coming into the home. So the external investigations that we have remaining, there's only about 15 of the 678, I think it was. And unfortunately, we have 80% that we still have to do internal investigations. Letters went out. You can coordinate with the DPW. You can coordinate with ML Chartier. It's just a matter of taking a picture of that service line, and it has to include the water meter. So it's basically the line from either coming out of your floor or out of your wall. Before it gets to your water meter, we need to identify what that material is. And if that is lead, then you would receive a letter within 30 days of that, and then you would be put on our list for a lead line replacement. Moving forward to the sewer cleaning and CCTV program, like I said, they cleaned and inspected almost 22,000 linear foot of municipal pipe, which is right about 43 miles of pipe. AEW Sewer Rehab Group has broken repairs into emergent, critical, high, medium, and low priority. As a piece of good news, we had no emergency repairs that needed to take place. So there was nothing that they came across and said, this needs to be fixed right this second. So we had 0 emergency repairs. The rest were classified as critical, high, medium, and low priorities. So from the results of those inspections, or AEW's Sewer Rehab Group has classified what kind of repair would go with those priorities. So it's either would be an open cut repair or full length or sectional liners. Like I said, along this inspection, private taps were also inspected. Private taps are the responsibility of the homeowner. Any private taps that may need to be repaired by that homeowner, we will be sending out letters to each of those homeowners that state that that's going to have to be repaired. Some of the results of our program, some of the pictures that we found. So we found about, I believe it was 4 cross-line gas bores. So that is Consumers Energy boring directly through our sewer pipe. That's the top left picture. The top right over here, we have root infiltration that is taking place at a couple different locations. The bottom left is grease. So this is why you don't dump grease down your drain. Restaurants are required to have grease traps because incidences like this take place. And then the bottom right picture is miscellaneous debris. So like I said, anything that you flush down the toilet, if it's not supposed to be down there, will eventually find a spot and stop. We do have structures that have broken apart, so there could be bricks or debris. So all of these, besides for the gas line crossbores, Consumers Energy has been notified about those. They will be coming out to repair those. These roots were cut out with high pressure water, so that's how the jet cuts sewer or cuts roots out of the sewer. So all these have been repaired. The grease we had Rogue do a grease treatment in this section of town, so that was also cleaned, and the debris has been removed. So as of right now, after all the sewer cleaning of the 43 miles of pipe, right now this is probably as clean as the city sewers have ever been. An example of an open cut repair. So essentially, this is more traditional excavation method. This is just digging along the excavation area and most likely removing that pipe and replacing with brand new pipe. This particular picture is actually from, where is it? West Tacoma from our 2012 SRF program. So this is a little bit extreme. Our repairs are not going to be that long. Most of our open cut repairs are anywhere from 6 to, I believe, about 12 feet long. So it's not going to be the whole street like that. But that's just an example of what one of those repairs do. These are a lot more invasive. This is full excavation. You're talking excavators, heavy equipment, gravel trains. You got to remove all that material, bring in pipe, and then backfill everything. So that would be a little bit longer of a process and a lot more invasive. Examples of trenchless repair. These are going to be your liners. So there are two different kinds of liners. There's full cure-in-place pipe lining, or FCIPP. That would be going from manhole to manhole. And then there's also sectional cure-in-place pipe lining, which is, it would be in between the manholes, not full stretches of pipe. This is a lot less invasive. There is some larger trucks, but it's not a matter of digging holes and excavating. They essentially line the pipe, and once that procedure is done, it's basically like a brand new pipe. This is going to be for cracked fractures, small deformations in the pipe. It's not going to be, thank you. It's not going to be for major repairs like any type of collapse or gaps in the pipe. This is going to be for smaller imperfections in the pipe. Excuse me. Like I said, as you can see, 42.76, almost 43 miles of pipe was covered in the sewer cleaning and CCTV program. Majority of our pipe, 80% of our pipe, ranges from 10-inch to 21-inch. All that pipe was cleaned and inspected, and then the results of that are going to be all of our sewer rehab program moving forward. So I will get into that after, if anybody has any questions of what I've gone over so far.
Councilmember Tinley? Oh.
Oh,
This isn't the opportunity for public comment. This is. He's asking the council if they have questions. Councilmember Tinlin?
not for this section.
Okay, looking this way instead of calling everyone. Go ahead.
I do.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
First question is in regards to the testing for the lead service lines for the water. Whose responsibility is it to fill those holes after they hydrovac?
So it is the contractor. They are not always in town, so a lot of that responsibility falls on the DPW. So typically they would call in, leave a message, or contact our clerical. We get a list going, and we will go out there and fill those. But it is actually the responsibility of the contractor to do.
Okay, gotcha. Because I noticed a few around my area that they were filled, but
Yeah.
there's still like maybe 6 inches of difference.
Typically, they fill them with sand, and then we get a heavy rain, that sand compacts, and then we just have
Yeah.
to keep going back.
Go for it.
So our contractor has not done final restoration yet. So what we're doing now is just keeping them to a safe level. They will come back and do a final landscape restoration.
Okay,
It's not done yet.
that's good to hear.
So if someone has a concern about something, they should call the DPW and let them know?
Absolutely. Don't call City Hall, call us.
Okay, all right. Perfect.
Kristen will thank you.
Thank you. A few more. How long does the cure in place pipe extend the life of the pipe before it needs a full tear up of the street and new concrete pipe and everything?
Mike, you want to handle that one?
So the cure-in-place liners will actually outlive the hose pipe.
Oh,
So
wow.
those liners will be there a lot longer than the actual, sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that, I'm a little tall. But what I was saying is that the liners themselves will outlive the hose pipe. So if you've got a vitrified clay pipe, which the city has a lot of, that liner would go through there. That liner will be there. The hose pipe around it may shatter, break, whatever, but that liner will stay and form and provide your sewage flow.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. And that was, you answered the consumers when they're fixing those, obviously. Okay, thank you, that was it.
I just have one.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering with the gas line crossboard, you said that they are notified and DT will be fixing it?
Consumers.
Or consumers, is
Yeah.
that, do we know when? Like,
I don't have a timeline on that, do you?
it just seems dangerous.
Yeah, we've been in conversations with them since April about the cross bores, and actually, I just sent an email today to follow up on that. They were supposed to give us a schedule a couple weeks ago, but we haven't heard back from them.
Did you, to toggle off Councilmember Peltonen's question, was there a count of those cross bores?
I believe there was 4.
4 of them, and all different areas?
They were mostly in the square mile, in the northern part of the square mile.
And are they easily accessible, or are they like under, no. But is all the fixing consumers' responsibility?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you want to switch? So I'll add to that. The crossbore locations, there's 2 on Elmwood between North Washington and Main Street, and there's 2 on Council between North Custer and North Main Street. So what consumers will do is they'll come in and bore in new services and, reconnect on each side. And they'll pull that old service out once it's abandoned. And then as part of our sectional lining program, we'll go in and put a sectional liner where those holes are. So that'll take care of any problems that'll arise from those 2 little holes on each side of the pipe. And consumers will be responsible for all costs.
Okay, so they'll reimburse. You said
Yes.
we'll go in, but they'll reimburse for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, interesting. Okay, good questions. Anything else? Take it away.
All right. Moving on to our sewer rehab projects. These projects were a result of our CCTV findings. So unfortunately, this is kind of a hard map to read. This will be on our website and it's in the packet. You guys all have copies in front of you. But like I said, AEW Sewer Rehab Group was been going over 43 miles worth of data. We're putting together 2 contracts over a 2-year period over 2026 and 2028. Each contract will consist of an open cut program, a full length lining program, and a sectional lining program. So the 2026 contract 1 open cut repair, that will be everything south of 14 Mile from Crooks Road to Rochester Road. That 2026 contract 1 open cut repair is actually currently out for bid. It went out for bid May 29, 2026. The opening of that bid is June 24th, which is next Wednesday. That open cut repair has 58 total locations. All repairs, like I said, are located north of 14 Mile between South Crooks and South Rochester. And these are all for defects in the mainline sewer. That top picture that you see here, that is, if you can tell, this pipe is actually like an egg shape or oval shape. They are supposed to be round, so that is a problem. And the sewer rehab group has decided that cannot, so slight deflections or deformities in the pipe, they can still run liners through. This is not one of those instances. This is one that is going to need to be an open cut repair. They are going to dig down, remove that pipe, and put in brand new pipe. Many of these defects in our mainline sewer contain private tap locations inside the scope of work. So this bottom picture here is a good example of that. So this, in this top right of this bottom picture, that is a lateral sewer tap. So those are typically the responsibility of the homeowner to fix. However, in these situations, as you can tell down here, we have a broken and displaced part of our mainline sewer, and up here, this crack in our mainline sewer. So these are going to be a part of the open cut repair where, because that tap is a part of our repair, that'll get replaced as well. So that would not be the responsibility of the homeowner in those instances because it is a part of our program that we are trying to fix this pipe. The 2026 Contract 1 full cure-in-place pipe lining is, this is for repairing extensive number of structural defects in the mainline sewer. So like I said, this is full-length lining. This is going to be manhole to manhole. For this portion of the Contract 1, this is going to be west of Main Street. It's going to contain 67 repair locations. This is planned to go out this construction season, and the locations are indicated with the gold lines on the map. So those would be manhole to manhole sections that are going to be lined with this program. Yep.
I just want to add to that. So to differentiate full length versus the sectional, which will be on the next slide. In order for it to be a full length liner between manhole to manhole, there's got to be at least 3 to 4 defects in that section of pipe. If there would have been just 1 or maybe 2 defects, and they were spread apart, we probably would have done a sectional liners on each of those. But if there's multiple defects between those manholes, we're just gonna line that whole section.
Because if you can't tell, the full-length liners are more expensive. So
Really?
we're not
What was
going
more
to
expensive?
fully line everything. So like Mike said, the next slide, we're going to go over our 2026 Contract 1 sectional length cure-in-place pipe. This would be a limited number of structural defects in the mainline sewer. All locations are west of Main Street. There's currently 120 repairs on 69 different pipes. Again, this is planned to go out this construction season. All locations are indicated with yellow triangles on the map. Again, I do understand it's very hard to see, but we will have this on our website. The 2028 Contract 2 open cut repairs, that will be everything north of 14 Mile from North Crooks to Essex. 2028 will be going out in 2028, the open cut repair. There's 59 total repair locations, all repairs located, like I said, north of 14 Mile. These are the same pictures, so it's basically the same definition or the same explanation for why these repairs are being done. There are major defects in the pipe, and same situation for the private taps in these locations. If there's issues in our mainline sewer that contain those private taps are going to be fixed along with the mainline sewer. The 2028 Contract 2 full cure-in-place pipeline, that is going to be less intrusive, manhole to manhole. These repairs are going to be everywhere east of Custer. So Custer runs all the way through town. Everything east of there is going to be repaired when 2028 Contract 2. There's 55 repair locations planned to go out to bid in 2028. Everything is indicated with green lines for this contract. The 2028 sectional cure-in-place pipe lining is going to be everything south of Elmwood. Like I said, less invasive. It's going to be locations between manholes, and currently going to be 96 repairs on 63 pipes planning to go out to bid in 2028. Blue triangles are indicated on the map at all these repair locations. So these are going to be some of the results of the CCTV for residential taps that are not affecting the city sewer. Residents will receive notices for taps that are 50% or more defective and will require repairs. Residential taps, again, as a reminder, are a responsibility of the homeowner. Some of the issues that AEW found in this 43 miles of information are roots that are coming out of the lateral tap. Mineral deposits, and actually this detached tap is a very good picture of this one on the right. If you can see all this clay color, this is the mainline sewer, and it is in good condition. There's no cracks, there's no fraying, there's no missing pipe. But up in the actual tap, you can tell that there's some issues going on there. So these residents will get notices that say that they will have to repair that, because that does not just cause backups in your home, that causes issues to our infrastructure. So that means that there could be material above that, which is typically under roadways, that is now getting into the mainline sewer. So a lot of sections of town, if you feel a little dip in the road, there's a possibility that that is a problem with somebody's sewer lateral that is broken, and now material is dropping into that. So there are sections that some homeowners are going to get notices, and they're going to be required to fix their sewer taps. As of right now, we have 102 notices that'll be sent out. That's not all residential. Some of those notices are, so every tap was inspected. So you have to think every catch basin has a tap. Catch basins that are in parking lots going out to the mainline sewer, those all have taps. All those are inspected. Some of those have issues, so the city will have to repair some of those. But 102 notices are planned to be sent out. Under completion of the sewer rehab program, all critical priority repairs as called out by CCTV and all high priority repairs as called out by CCTV will be repaired. Medium and low priority locations will continue to be monitored. These two screenshots, one is of an open cut repair that was done on North Washington back in 2012. And this is a internal picture of a sectional liner that was done back in 2012 as well. So for the record, contract one has open cut repairs. There's 58 open cut repairs. There's 67 full length liners, 120 sectional liners for 245 repairs will be taking place in 2026. That contract two's got 59 open cut repairs, 55 full length liners, and 210 sectional liners for 210. And for anybody keeping score at home, that would be 455 sewer repairs that are going to be taking place through this sewer rehab program over the next 2 years. Now we're going to bring up some road flooding concerns. Some of the concerns that were brought to council are the intersection of North Bywood Avenue and Broadacre Avenue and Elmsford Avenue between North Main Street and North Washington Avenue. So the road flooding at the intersection of North Bywood and Broadacre Avenue, the results of the CCTV found this. So, do I still got my laser pointer? I do. So North Bywood and Broadacre Avenue is this intersection right here. So these two red dots, these are open cut repairs that are scheduled for 2028. All the blue dots that you see in the picture are sectional liners that will also be done in 2028. Like I said before, and the video would have showed if the video was working, but it's not. But this is north, this is south. Everything is gravity fed from the north to the south, so sewer flow is flowing in this direction. So this intersection is actually the lowest spot in that area. If you know the area, and if you stand there, if you look to the north, Bywood is a pretty significant elevation change to the north. To the south, Bywood has a slight elevation change, but each side of Broadacre does have a very steep elevation change. So this is the lowest point. Gravity is undefeated, so water is going to flow to that lowest point at all times. Some of the alternative improvements that we have thought about are concerning a road diet on North Bywood. This would not be your typical road diet like you would see out in front of City Hall right now, or what's taking place on South Rochester through Royal Oak. Our road diet would consist of bringing those curbs in just a couple feet. So what that's going to do is essentially create more green space or more permeable space to collect some of that water. Another addition, it could be adding catch basins, which further up the hill on Broadacre. So the next street to the west would be Kenross. The problem with Kenross are the catch basins that are on Kenross are actually on Kenross and not on Broadacre. So the discussion was between ourselves and AEW was potentially adding catch basins on Broadacre to catch some of that water before it hits that low point. So Broadacre is actually, you will see here in a minute, Broadacre is actually scheduled to be reconstructed next year. And that would be water main and road and some sewer repairs. And as a note too, let me get down over here. Oh, that's my laser pointer. Oh, now I did it. Hang on. Oh, geez. Falling apart here. I don't have the, so where this connection is at the very bottom of the picture, that's across 14 Mile. So that street is actually South Marias. That is where the county 12-town drain begins. One of the connections to the 12-town drain begins. So the issue that we're having at Broadacre and Bywood is 825 feet away from where it drops into the county sewer. The county sewer at that point is an 11-foot sewer. So if an 11-foot sewer is full, we have a major rain event taking place. So it is going to back up from that point further back. So 825 feet from a connection to a county sewer is actually relatively close. So that it could be one of the issues that we have, is that county sewer is at capacity and that water has nowhere to go until that system catches up. And to see an 11-foot sewer fully flowing is pretty intimidating. I have popped that lid before, I've looked down there, and it is a river of water that you do not want to be on the wrong end of. So large rain events that we seem to be having a lot more often now. It's proven that storms are more intense, they hit more often. I don't know why they call them 100-year storms if they happen every other year, but that's what they do. And sewer systems, no matter how big your system is, no sewer system can withstand every storm that Mother Nature decides to throw at us. The other road flooding concern is on Elmsford between North Washington and North Main Street. The results of the CCTV here are going to be full cure-in-place lining on Park Drive, Knollwood, and Elmsford. The concern flooding area is about mid-block at Elmsford. That really seems to be a road flooding problem from the restricted lids, which is not, in my opinion, a issue. The system is working properly. When the system is overloaded, that road is designed to flood. So if it's not flooding and that water is rushing into the system, it is most likely also rushing into people's basements. So the water is designed to stay on the road, enter the system slowly, so the system can then catch up. So most of these issues, there are some issues where rocks, debris, sticks, leaves, stuff gets over those restricted lids. So if there's only 4 holes or 6 holes, it doesn't take a whole lot for a couple leaves and a couple sticks to get in there and really restrict it even more. And that's part of the reason that, the water stays on the road as longer than normal, is because the catch basin itself is clogged. But like I said, Mother Nature throws a lot of pretty nasty storms at us. I will give one personal comment. I do not live in the city of Clawson. I live in a neighboring community that actually has a separate system, not a combined sewer system. So they have a separate storm and sanitary sewer. I live at a T intersection. So my T intersection has 6 catch basins at it. And that storm that hit on Sunday that dropped a whole bunch of rain, my intersection flooded. So even short bursts, 15 minutes of rain with strong downpours, even systems that are perfectly designed for that, they flood. And 5-10 minutes after that rain is done, that road was clear. So that system to me is working properly. Outside of that, do we have any questions?
So I'm going to start because I have a couple questions. I'm going to go back to, and this might be a question for AEW, back on where you were showing this picture here, where you were showing the pipe cracked. Is there a hazard for stuff leaking out into like the soil and the community when something's cracked, or what?
Are you referring to the top picture there where it's
This is where you
oval?
said it was cracked, actually, that there was a crack right here.
Oh, the second picture
Yeah.
down with the tap coming in and the
Yeah.
pipe is cracked?
Yeah,
So, depending on the severity of the crack, if the crack is, if it's open, I mean, material from above the pipe could get into the sewer. I think Ryan mentioned that when he was talking about the taps, like some of the material could get into the sewer and cause a problem.
so it's more likely to get in than
That's-
stuff to get out.
The sewer's not pressurized, so it's not pushing things out. Like a water main is pressurized, so when we have a break, water pushes out. Sewers are gravity fed, so it's not pushing material
So there's nothing
out.
icky getting out, it's just stuff
No.
going in. Okay,
No,
okay.
what you're pointing out there, that's, if material is sinking into the pipes and the material's carrying down and it's continuing to do that over time, that's where like a sinkhole happens.
Gotcha. And then my next question is, we go from 26 to 28. What do you have against 2027?
So these programs are gonna take a little while to get done, so it's 26, it's really 26, 27
Okay.
construction.
All right.
So,
And-
yeah, the physical construction will take place over 26,
That's what I
27 for
thought,
the
but I just
26
wanted to,
contract
like,
season.
where's 2027? And then the other question I have is in regard to North Bywood, Broadacre, and Elmsford. We had approved an engineering study, and I assume that's separate from all of this stuff, the engineering study that's taking place?
So I believe you requested a quote for it, and it was never incorporated into, you can have a conversation today at this meeting, and the point was to explain those two projects and what we're doing and how we could positively impact the outcomes going forward without a need to do the study.
I thought we accepted the quote, the $50,000 quote.
No. No, he just provided it, and I provided it in a Friday feedback.
Okay, maybe I'm making up memories. I thought it was.
I don't think we made a motion to formally accept it, we
Okay.
discussed it.
All right, I'm just making up memories then.
Because Councilmember Tinlin, you specifically asked, that's to study the entire plate. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's just two locations.
Two locations.
Okay, all right, those were my questions. Anyone this way, questions?
I guess I'll start. Just more on the residential taps. What's the average cost spread when those have to be repaired at the residents' burden?
So unfortunately, these taps, 85 to 90% of our mainline sewer is located in the center of the road. So to repair that tap, you're going to need to do a open cut repair, remove the road, get down, make the repair, and then repair the road. So that's where a lot of that cost ranges. There's some contractors anywhere from $8,000 to $18,000.
And I know, because I have some additional insurance covering a lot of those taps coming to the street. And matter of fact, I just renewed mine last month. Does the city have
Smart man.
information like that? There's a couple of different insurance firms that you can pay an annual basis to cover some of the repairs. I don't think they cover 100% though.
I don't know, we have Sewer Lines of America?
Yeah, there's a couple of,
The city does not have
Yeah.
coverage.
and I was going to get the name of my company too, but I wasn't sure if that's promoting
But
them or not. But
The
I
city,
know
I
there's
believe,
availability.
promotes Sewer Lines of America, and I know Consumers just started a new program where you can pay them and they would cover costs.
Yeah, because I know it can be very healthy cost to the residents. So we have 102 notifications going out, so just to get ahead of that one. And then just a quick one on the road flooding for Bywood and Broadacre, the alternate improvements. Is that just kind of a suggestion, or we can add that to scope, or have to have a conversation on that?
Those alternate improvements, so I will get to some of the adjustments right now. So as of right now, North Bywood is not even on our priority list to repair. My plan was to repair that road throughout miscellaneous concrete. So if we were going to do a road diet, that would be a pretty significant cost, and that would take away from some other projects.
Okay.
But the Broadacre's scheduled actually was not adjusted. It is originally scheduled to work to be performed next year.
Okay. And my last question would be just a point of interest, the 4 and 6 hole determination on the grates. Is that done out of just, is
So-
there a calculation on the
Our
road?
older grates are square, and they had 36 holes, I believe, so it was just the center 6 remained open. Our newer catch basin lids are actually circular, so they're designed, I believe it's a 1040 lid. They're designed with 4 long oval-type holes in the center of the lid.
So you just, do you have an equation behind that of exactly how much volume you're trying to prevent going into the sewer?
I believe it was a push back in the day from the county
Okay.
that we did this because their system was getting overwhelmed, and at the time, predates me, they would pulled all those and filled them with concrete. So an 80-pound lid turned into like a 180-pound lid because we added a whole bunch of concrete to them, but left those remaining 6 holes open.
That's my new hobby, and I'm walking, I'm looking at the different hole configurations of the sewer, right? So thank you. I just
You
wondered if there
need
was
a
a science
hobby.
behind it. Yeah, I need a hobby, right?
Might want to learn crocheting instead. or-
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Councilmember Spishak?
Sorry. If we move up on an opportunity like the road diet on North Bywood, is there a cost estimate on what that would look like?
There is, I believe it was 4 or 4.5 million.
Okay. That's all I got.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I was just wondering if you guys remembered for the flooding on Elmsford, was the residential home, who was talking about that, was his home flooding or was it just outside on the road?
I believe it was just the road. And as a note for both of those flooding locations, I've been in my role as the assistant superintendent now for about 4 years. We have not had another complaint at Broadacre and Bywood from any other resident. And I believe there's been 1 or 2 other complaints about road flooding on Elmsford. So this isn't like every storm, people are calling, trying to knock down the door. So.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke. Councilmember Peltonen.
It was kind of the same as with Councilmember Tinlin. I was just wondering about, I see the alternative improvements and was wondering, I guess, the catch basins we've talked about a few times, is that something that we would just talk about later on?
So that's something that AEW and the engineering department, we would discuss, and we would make those, it's not really a discussion, we would make those improvements to try to minimize or help some of the flooding that's happening at that intersection.
They would be included for next year.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a lot less than 4 to 4.5 million, correct?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
by
the whole
million?
Broadacre project is a pretty pricey one too, but that would be included with that, so. That, it wouldn't be a separate project just for those, it would be included with
Okay.
that project.
Perfect. That's it for me.
All right, carry on.
Madam Mayor, I've got one question.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're so, I apologize.
No, you were
I'm so
totally
sorry.
fine. Thank you. No, you're totally fine. I just wanted to ask, because I didn't hear, is there a deadline for the homeowners to have the residential taps repaired by?
So we have discussed it. I don't think we've nailed down an actual timeline, but there is going to be, when those notices go out, there will be a timeline for those to be repaired.
Thank you very much.
Now you can go.
All right, moving on. So our priority list adjustments for the infrastructure improvement bond 2024. So the results of the TMF grant, water service verification, the results of the sewer cleaning and CCTV program, and some grouping of individual streets into actual projects. That's where a lot of our adjustments or reorganization of this priority list took place. With the TMF grant, so the water service identification, streets that are found to have a lot of lead services on them, all those lead services are going to have to be repaired. If you have a lot of lead services on your street, there's a pretty good chance that water main is pretty old as well. So we have water main projects that are scheduled, like John M. would be scheduled for next year. John M. has a lot of lead services on it. So that project was not scheduled for next year. It got moved up a little bit because of the John M. South, or John M. Washington S turn. I don't know if you guys know the area, but it is, after we get to Dreon School, that'll be the next worst area in town, so that's why we want to address it. With the improvements that the school has made, I think it's a pretty big necessity, and then with the lead lines along John M., it is definitely needs to be done sooner than later. The results of the CCTV, so the programs that we put together didn't really make large adjustments in our priority list because these programs are going to address all those concerns before we really get to them. So, for instance, Dreon School, Langley, Stephen, that program that's going out right now, we have one sewer repair that we know that we're going to do, and that's going to take place in that project. So the projects that we have on tap that are going to be going forward, those repairs are going to be made within that project. But these the sewer rehab program are going to make the remaining repairs before we get to, you know, the 2033 series of repairs that we're going to do in the infrastructure improvement bond. So moving to this next slide, it is going to be, again, kind of hard to read, but this is the original list of, what is that, 37 streets. So when I originally made this list, I went street by street. I didn't group them into necessarily projects or geographically. So when we adjusted this in 2026, that's some of the things that we took into account. One of the things that I would like to mention that we did not, I did not talk about are grant opportunities. So right now, our current construction project that's going on North Chocolate, Leroy, and Goodale Court, that got moved up our priority list simply for the fact that we got a $1 million grant to do that project. So that $1 million does not cover the total cost of that, so the infrastructure improvement bond is going to supplement the remaining costs, but that's why that project got moved up. So those were pretty low on our priority list. However, when you get opportunities at free money, you got to jump at it. And contrary to popular belief, we go after quite a bit of grants. So again, since my time in my role, we have requested approximately $17 million in infrastructure-related grants. We have received $2.8 million. So I know that there's been talk out there that we need to go get grants. We are trying. Unfortunately, we get denied a lot. A little easier to read list, the top 15 of this adjusted priority list. As you can tell, back to my laser pointer, West Elmwood and Maple Road, those are getting, well, West Elmwood is very near completion. West Maple, we're hoping to complete that later this year, but currently out the bid right now is Dreon School, Leon Goodale Court, and North Chocolate. That was one of those ones that moved up because of that $1 million grant. Another grant, the CDBG grant, it does not give a whole lot of money, but it does give some money. It is very limited on where we can use that. So South Washington was a street right off of 14 Mile that we were going to do a very small road repair. That small road repair turned into a road repair and sewer repair. So then the price got substantially more. So that is also out the bid. That project is moving forward, and it's going to be supplemented with the infrastructure improvement bond. Like I spoke quickly before, John M. North Washington, that got bumped up our list as well because of the lead line services. The next grouping of this priority list. So of our original list, as of right now, we have only removed one of them off the list because we believe that we can repair that with miscellaneous concrete, and that road would be Samoset. So it's going to take a couple years of miscellaneous concrete to complete that, but Samoset's one of those strange roads in Clawson that sections of it do not have, actually, I don't know if any of it has a water main on it, and none of it has sewer. So it's literally just the road. So the hill behind Aldi that is in a horrible condition. We're looking to do that. There's 2 storm sewer issues further down the street that we're also looking to repair, and then potentially the next year. We are getting more additional funding for our miscellaneous concrete due to some adjustments at the state level. So we can throw a little bit more money at miscellaneous concrete, but that's one of those ones that has actually come off of our list because we believe that we can fix that with miscellaneous concrete. Another one would be a street like Darby Court, where it is, where is it at? Number 24 on our list. It's not in need of a water main, so that would just be road. That's another one that has the potential of falling off of our priority list for the infrastructure bond, because we can supplement that cost other ways like miscellaneous concrete. Quick update of the ongoing infrastructure projects that we have going. That new beautiful road right there is West Elmwood. That was a full road reconstruction from North Crooks to North Southridge. There is some softscape restoration that is remaining, some traffic striping and traffic signage still needs to go up. Their estimated completion date is actually July of 2026, so next month they're looking to wrap that project up. Our next project would be the West Maple Road water main installation. All water main has been installed. They finished the last 2 service transfers actually today. There is one remaining tying and then a bunch of restoration. Estimated completion date for that project would be August of 2026. This is the North Chalkley Goodale Court Leroy water main installation. North Chalkley water main has been installed. And actually they did a tie-in this morning. Goodale Court water main was installed. And Leroy, I believe they were pulling pipe today. So estimated completion date for those 3 smaller water main projects would be August of 2026. The Dreon Langley School Stephan water main installation and road reconstruction. It is currently out for bid. The bid opening would be next Wednesday, June 24th. The goal for this project is to have all water main completed by the winter. We are going to have a hard stop date for concrete repairs. So this unfortunately is going to have to go over a 2-year period. We're looking to get some concrete in the ground this year, but we are going to have a hard stop date. All residents will have full access to their driveways, and we will be doing some patching for the winter months, but the completion of that project is expected for early summer of 2027. This South Washington Road reconstruction that turned into a little bit more with the sewer repair that is out for bid. It's actually, bid opening is tomorrow for that one. That is going to be partially funded by the CDBG grant. So the current DPW projects that we are dealing with, I just went over all the infrastructure improvement bond projects. Some of the other projects that we are finishing up right now is a sidewalk gap and maintenance. They're going through some punch lists. That was a project from last year. Sewer cleaning and CCTV, it's mostly punch list items, but those are more clerical items. We are going to request that they do some additional work for us, cameraing some of our downtown parking lot catch basin leads and things, because they only did the mainline sewer. We have some concerns with some of those parking lots. So since we still have them under contract, we're looking to do a couple items.
Just to note, the additional work is still within the original contract award. There was some money left over. There were some contingency items that we had in the contract for like extra heavy cleaning that didn't necessarily be used. So as a result, there was some additional funding left in that contract. So there's some, sewers that at the parking lots and stuff that the city wants to get done. So we're going to include those.
The TMF I went over, there are a lot of internal investigations, so if residents have received letters, please try to capitalize on that. That is a project that does need to get done by mid-September of this year, because that is when we are no longer getting funding for that project. So there's going to be a hard push to get all those internal investigations done. South Rochester Road water main. Our portion of that project is nearing completion. There are a couple small punch list items. However, Royal Oak has now taken over their portion of the road diet and their construction, so that road's going to still be tore up for the foreseeable future. And then, of course, miscellaneous concrete is going to continue. That has been a very successful program for our department with doing some much-needed repairs and kind of spreading those repairs out throughout the city. Some non-city related projects that we are also dealing with, like I said, the South Rochester road diet. Dreon School Selfridge gas main. Consumers was just in. We have been coordinating with consumers for our infrastructure projects. So we're not essentially working over top of each other. We're not going to go put in a whole bunch of new infrastructure just to have them come in and say, oh, well, we need to go in there and put a new gas main in too. So we're in good coordination with consumers where they're coming in front of us. They're doing all the work that they need to do, and then we will come in after them and we will complete our infrastructure repairs. Consumers is also in the midst of a very large project on the south side of town for our portion of town. It is the Four Cities Metro Pipeline. It is going through 4 cities, properly named. It is about 8 miles, and it is multiple millions of dollar project that is taking place. I know the people along Dakota dealt with a lot of the prep work for this project. Unfortunately, some of those residents did think the project was then over. That project is just winding up. So that is going to be a long project. Dakota Road is going to be tore up for most of the summer. Hopefully it will be completed by fall this year. A couple other things that are pretty new for City of Clawson. The Village at Clawson Park, the former Shalom site, and the former Baker site. So these are, in the grand scheme of things, very small housing developments when you want to think about it. But for the City of Clawson, this is the largest housing development that has gone in since the subdivisions were created. So there's a lot of infrastructure work involved with those, so that is pretty taxing to our department as well, where we need to be on site or assist with certain things like operation of valves and hydrants and things like that. So we are spread a little thin there at the DPW with all the projects going, not to mention, a couple other larger developments like 150 North Main, the former PNC site that has a portion of water main that is going to be moved. That's another project that's going to be taxing on our department and just the day-to-day operations of the DPW. And unfortunately, we all know construction is inconvenient. It doesn't matter what construction, sewer projects, water projects, road projects, they all are inconvenient and they take a long time. Sewer projects have things like service interruptions, road construction, heavy equipment is often involved, detours are involved. You're going to displace, some people from being able to park in their driveways. We understand that. I'm not a huge fan of inconveniencing the public, but it is a necessary evil. Our infrastructure is old. Our infrastructure is failing. We did ask the residents for a pretty big ask with this $64.5 million, the most money that we could get. I think the residents realize that our infrastructure is not at the top quality, so they passed that bond, and we are moving forward, and we're doing some construction, but we got to crack a few eggs and make an omelet. So we are, unfortunately, inconveniencing some people, but it is a necessary evil to complete our projects. Again, water main projects have a lot of things. So the top right picture, that is actually a water main that we removed from 15 Mile. The water main that is currently getting replaced. That was a break that took place a couple years ago. That is about a 6-foot section of pipe that is completely deteriorated on the bottom. That was one of the reasons that 15 Mile was our #1 priority when it came to water main, because there was a average of a water main break every 1.5 years on that road for its lifetime. And that was a 1928 water main. That middle picture, that is actually a cross-section of a water main that was removed, a 1925 water main that was removed right out at Broadacre. So when we if you can see inside the pipe, that is a lot of buildup. It's a lot of rust. It's a lot of material in that pipe. So when a pipe is fully pressurized and nothing is disturbing it, that material doesn't move. But unfortunately, when we have to go and we turn valves to do tie-ins for new water mains, or we operate hydrants, that changes the pressure and that moves that material around. So that is where cloudy or dirty water comes from. So that material is always in your pipe. So if you want to think of, say, a water bottle, and you put sand in a water bottle and you just hold it, that sand is going to settle to the bottom. But if you change those pressures and you shake that water bottle up, it's going to move all around. Same concept. So that is what happens, and unfortunately, we cannot accurately guess how much that's going to affect. So the size of the main, the larger the main, the more disruption it's going to have. When we send out notices that we are going to do service interruptions, we do it for the immediate area that is being disturbed. So if we're going to interrupt your service and say, like today, North Chalk Lake had their water turned off, North Chalk Lake and Broadacre had their water turned off at 9 a.m. today so they could do that service tie-in. Well, we had to extend that a little bit more. We notified, because we were not getting a good shut-off at these 1920 valves, so we had to extend it so good shut-off so the contractor could complete their work. When we turn that back on, we have to flow a hydrant to fill the main, and that disrupts the system. So we did get a couple calls today on Selfridge that they had some dirty or cloudy water. So it is unfortunate, but we cannot kind of guess where that dirty or cloudy water, how far that's going to stretch. We've had main breaks on the south side of town. We had one last year on one of our 16-inch mains that affected people on the north side of town. That's a very rare thing, but that does happen. 16-inch main is the largest water main that we have in town. So when something like that breaks, it disrupts a large area. And again, the road reconstruction too, it's inconvenient. You have limited access to roads. You have to park in different spots. You have heavy equipment. You have detours. We do apologize for the inconvenience, but we also want to thank you for your patience. The residents of Clawson voted for this. We are going full forward with doing these repairs, and I would like to, thank the Clawson residents, Clawson staff, council, Clawson business owners for their continued patience during all these infrastructure projects, but not just our projects, every project throughout the state. Please take your time going through construction zones. Slow down. Don't move barricades, especially to drive through wet cement. Take caution in construction zones because people's lives depend on it. These guys that are on these construction sites want to go home to their families. They're out there busting their butts trying to do work for us. So please take patience with the inconvenience. So at that, do we have any questions?
I have two questions out of the gate. What was it about the grant that made it apply to those 3 streets and you moved them up?
So that grant was a $1 million grant that was strictly for water-related or water main work. So those 3 streets were classified as not needing road work, so they were strictly water main, and I tried to get as close to $1 million as possible. Unfortunately, as close as I could get was $1.7 million. So $1 million will be part of the grant, and $700,000 will be from the infrastructure improvement bond.
And then my second question is on this Drian Langley School Stephan water main installation road construction. I noticed that Drian and school are on the road list, but Stephan isn't.
They will be.
It's farther down. It's not.
So that part of stuff, so the whole circle of that, all that will be repaired in this project. The rest of Stephan is a whole different project.
So that road will get, because that road is horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just from school to Drian.
Perfect. All right, that was my question. All right, Councilmember Duberson.
I have no questions at this time.
Councilmember Peltonen. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, just regarding the consumer's pipeline. We're getting a road out of that from like all of Nakota, are they replacing that on their dime?
It is a half a road.
Half a road on Nakota, okay. And then piggybacking off of that question, you said you are coordinating with them so we don't have to tear up the new street, right? Obviously, when you want to do your sewer and water, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, that was it.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I had a question on the proposed bond page, the colored one. Can you explain the differences between the amounts on the proposed, the 2024, and the adjustment 2026?
So those are basically running totals of what the bond payments would be. So each project, I was taking that project off. So if it was we started with $25.5 million. If it was a $5.5 million, that next number would be 20 million. And then the next project, so it's basically a running total down to what our next series would be. So the next color in that would be the next installment of payments for the bond. Does that make sense?
Okay. So is there a place where we have what was the cost for each project?
So we have estimated construction costs that we don't necessarily want to put out to the public because there's going to be contractors bidding on these projects. So if we put an estimated cost at $5 million and they come in and say, well, we could have done it for
I
four,
understand
but.
that. Yeah, okay.
All right, well, that's basically what it is.
But after it's done,
Oh, what, like tomorrow, there's going to be a bid opening. All those bids are read. Actually, Mike's going to be here, right? And he's going to read every bid. So they're all sealed bids for this project. Make sure all the books are good. They're going to read every bid, and then that will then come back in front of council to approve.
It'll show you the cost that's spent
oh,
after the fact.
then after the fact, after everything is done, we'll know how
As-
much.
As soon as you go to approve that bid, you'll know exactly.
No, my question is, when the project is complete, then we'll know what the bid was for and what
No.
the project ended up at.
You will know what the bid is when you go to vote on whether you accept that contract or not.
I think her question is more on the line of, you know, if a project, the bid comes in at $2 million and 1.8 is spent, we'll know after the fact. Is that what?
And that is, where's that?
That would be after the project closes, which none of these projects have closed.
Okay.
If you want that, we could absolutely give you that information when that project closes, but.
Okay,
none
I
of
just
our
was
projects have
wondering if, because this is my first time in council, I was wondering if that is available to the public.
closed. I don't know that we ever just come out and say it, but absolutely we can. I mean,
Oh, okay.
because any of those savings is going to be added to the bond projects. So
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
all that money stays there. We can't say, oh, we save money on this project and use it somewhere else. It's got to stay within our.
Yeah,
bond
understand that,
stuff,
yeah.
so.
Mr. Riker?
So if you recall, there was a conversation, I think it was during the budget discussions, and Mark Pollock was here, and we talked about this inflation question that keeps popping up. And we said we want to get 2 to 3 years of construction under our belt before we assess that to see what the performance of the markets and all the other variables taken into consideration were. So after that is done, well, all that information, if anyone wants it, it's available. But when we crunch those numbers to show you, hey, this is how we're trending, that'll all be there.
Okay, thank you.
And on top of that, like Mike was saying, we are adding some to the sewer work, right? Because we had money left
But
over.
you had more money that
Yeah.
was left over, so.
Because we do contingencies, which I think you, sir,
Remember,
asked
we
about. in
talked about the
past. Yeah.
contingencies, those change orders.
Yep.
And if they have 100,000 just in case, and we don't spend it, it goes back.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Spisak?
No further questions.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Just one. So I saw you, nice, construction can be an inconvenience. So we passed that new construction traffic ordinance. How's the compliance been to that?
So for our projects, it doesn't really apply to ours.
Well, we
I
had in
mean,
your section, we got those other private ones going on now.
for
so.
the private ones, they need to comply with the construction routes that we give. But while they don't necessarily apply to us, every project that we have a pre-construction meeting, and we will instruct that crew if we want them to take a particular road, then that's going to be the road that they're going to be required to take. And if they don't, then we have conversations with the contractor. Because the problem with a lot of the bigger contractors are they use subcontractors for like the gravel hauling or gravel trains or delivery of materials. So it doesn't always get down to that third tier that, hey, this is the road you're supposed to be on. So,
Some must be working, I've got less emails lately, so that's how I judge too, right? Okay, thank you.
yep.
All right, that's everybody?
Okay. For the final wrap up here, City of Clawson's second water meter for irrigation policy. So this was brought up, we were asked to kind of present on this, and this is what it is. Our policy is 1 water meter allowed per service attachment. So you cannot split a service before the meter. Splitting a 1-inch service to go to 2 1-inch meters would drastically reduce your water pressure. So if you split a meter or a service before the meter, then essentially you would be getting free water. So if you were to do that because you wanted to irrigate your lawn and put in a second meter in, you have a 1-inch service, but you're going to serve 2 1-inch meters. So that's going to drastically reduce your water pressure. So we would get phone calls that I'm watering my lawn and doing the dishes and went to go take a shower and I don't have any water pressure. Not to mention that every unit of water is also charged as a unit of sewer in Clawson. So the city is charged from SACWA monthly water usage. We are charged from the GWK, the George W. Kuhn drain. We are charged monthly fixed water or fixed sewer fees from them. So it's not a usage fee. So it equates to every unit of water equals a unit of sewage. So that's how our bills are calculated. So essentially, the purpose of wanting a separate meter for irrigation is they don't want to pay the sewer fee. Unfortunately, the city still has to pay that sewer fee. So to issue you a second meter for irrigation, you would not pay that sewer fee. However, we now have to account for that, so we are going to essentially unfairly readjust our rates so everybody now pays, including you who wants a second meter. We're going to have to up our sewage rates to compensate for our loss. So our sewage rates are going to go up because we still have to pay that fixed amount, if that makes sense. So essentially, your water and sewer is one unit, and that's how it is paid. So that's every year they go, finance goes and calculates out what our sewage rate is going to be, and so if you didn't pay sewage, the city still has to pay it. So we're not going to, as a city, recoup the cost for you to get a water and no sewage. So we would have to readjust that cost, and everybody's sewer rate would go up. So we did do a quick unofficial second water meter survey. We contacted 15 different communities. Of those 15 communities, only 3 of them allow for second meters for irrigation. That's the city of Beverly Hills, Village of Bingham Farms, and Bloomfield Township. City of Southfield and Oak Park allow for irrigation meters only for commercial, but they also charge sewer for those as well. So they don't get a discount there. As a note, the quarterly water bill for Beverly Hills is $757. Bingham Farms is $613, and Bloomfield Township is $674. As a note, so SACWA does a fiscal year water rate study. The city of Clawson's quarterly water bill on average is $584.48. That is the lowest of the SACWA communities. So again, a lot of people stand up here and complain about our water rates. Our water rates are actually the cheapest of the SACWA communities. So we will, that water rate study is through SACWA. It's on their website. That's where all these numbers were pulled from. So it's an average of, what do they do? 4,000 cubic feet of water through a 5/8 meter. So different communities charge differently for sizes of meters, so they try to make it as equal as possible. 4,000 cubic feet is a lot of water. So you might be saying, oh, I might be getting a deal because I don't pay $584 a quarter for water. Well, that's for us, 100 cubic feet is 1 unit of water. So that's essentially 40 units of water. So that's the thing that you need to watch on your water bills is actually the units that you're using. Don't look at the dollars and cents, look at the actual units. So in the summertime, your units are going to most likely go up because you're going to water your grass, water your flowers. But we do have some checks and balances that if we have a very high water bill, if you're averaging 20 units of water, and all of a sudden you have a 60 or 70 unit, you'll get a notice from us saying that, you have a high usage. You might want to check for leaks or call a plumber. So that is our second water meter unofficial survey. So do we have any questions on that?
So I do, the 3 counties that offer the second water meter, how do they get around the water pressure issues that you mentioned?
So I know one community, so if we were to ever go the route of that, they don't allow a second meter per service. So you would need to have a new service installed. So you would need to hire a contractor, have them come and pull permits with us to be able to install a new water service strictly for your irrigation. So you would have a 1-inch water service for domestic water and a 1-inch water service for irrigation.
So it wouldn't be like a branching off, it would be
No,
a second,
it would be
a whole second
a
one.
whole second service, which, ballparking cost of that is probably $4,000 to $8,000, depending on the contractor.
And so that's how they accomplish it. They make you do a second service.
That's how most of the communities I know outside of this area, that's how they would do it.
And so of these 3 that do the second service, that second service then doesn't have sewer charges on it. So how do they get around if that's how the county is charging the city, or do they charge the city differently?
Their rates are higher, that's why. So we have the lowest water and sewer rate. Let me go back to So Beverly Hills, for the same amount of water used for this survey, they pay $757 for what we pay $584 for. So that's how they compensate. They
And
still
that's
have
like a regular one, that's not a second meter one.
That's what their rate is. So they would, essentially, they compensate for that by upping their rates. So they still have to pay those sewer fees, so you're gonna pay more overall because we have a handful of residents that want a irrigation meter.
So another way to say that is they take that sewer rate and they spread it amongst like meter 1 people, and then meter 2 people get a different rate.
No.
But it's higher.
The whole community is now paying for your sewer.
For your meter 2 rate.
Yeah.
Right, the sewer, that's what I'm saying. So so meter 1 rate gets all the sewer, all the water. Meter 2 gets just water, but that's because meter 1 has a higher percentage of sewer
Essentially, yeah.
associated with
Yeah.
it. All right. Councilmember Duberstein, I'm going to call you first all night.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no questions this time.
Councilmember Pelton. Mayor Pro Tem Rourke. Councilmember Slawinski.
I have no questions. Great job on this presentation. It's really well put together.
Councilmember Spishak.
No questions.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Just a comment. Thanks for the explanation.
Absolutely.
So before we move on, I'd like to make a motion that we open the floor for questions from the residents.
Support.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to open the floor for questions only. So if you have a question, not an opinion, but a question, I invite you to come to the podium. Please state your name and whether or not you're a resident and ask your question.
Good evening. My name's Todd Pearl. I am a resident of Clawson. We live on Kenilworth, and the industrial area behind it, that's on Crooks, we're having a light issue problem, and I'm just wondering who we should contact, the city or the businesses, because they have these huge floodlights that are basically lighting our homes at night.
So I should have been clear, we were opening it for questions about the presentation,
Okay.
but we will,
All right.
but we can address that later during comments. So if you have a question about the presentation, I invite you to come to the podium and ask your question about the presentation.
Jamie Gills, Tucanochee, I'm a Clausen resident. My question is about, I think what Councilperson Slawinski was asking, maybe it's a totally different question, but as you plan these projects, I assume you have an amount in mind. That's how you know how much can get done or will get done, or you assume will get done with this bond money that we voted for and you are using. So even though you don't want to publish that amount, there were dollar amounts on that one slide, I do believe, on the new priority list. In the old list, there were amounts for different things. So I guess I'm wondering, why are there amounts listed when you said you can't give out amounts because of bids? And then you can still give to the public, or I'm requesting or asking why you can't say, this is what we thought the project would cost, this is what it actually cost, it came in or under budget.
So, yes, there's dollar amounts on there. If you would like to do some math on your own, you can figure out what each of those projects essentially could cost, yeah.
Right, so could the people doing the bids, correct?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, so then why can't it be presented to the public? Why did you say it couldn't be presented to the public?
Because I don't want to broadcast to all the contractors that are bidding on our projects exactly what we think it's going to cost.
Okay, so after the bids have come in, can we see the estimated cost, what the bid was, and whether that was over or under your estimated cost for that project?
After it's awarded, you can see all the information you would like, yeah.
Great. So you're going to provide that for us,
I can provide it to the city manager.
and the city manager will provide it to us?
Again, I think I mentioned, once we have 2 to 3 years of performance under our belt with these projects, we'll come back and we'll be able to demonstrate the trends and where we are as far as inflation factor or any other factor that you had brought up before.
Okay, that's not best practices, but
There's
if that's the way you
there's a-
want to do it, that's fine.
When it comes in front of council to award the bid, all that information is in there.
Yeah, the
Your
bid
estimated
tabulation.
cost?
Our estimated cost comes in when AEW gives us their,
Okay,
So-
so I guess then my question is, when you're making this list of projects that you think we can accomplish, you don't have any idea how much any of this is going to cost?
We have cost estimates for every project.
Okay, that's what I'm asking about.
Yep.
So I would like to see cost estimates, or
They're on
I
the
think
left-hand side
the
of
public
the-
could see cost estimates. What the project cost, are we over or under budget? Why is that too much to ask?
So I believe it's Mike, right, from AEW? Yeah, that's usually in the analysis that you give us when we when the bids are part of the packet, right?
Oh, the estimated cost is in there?
I-
That we estimated as like the planning part?
The engineering analysis of what it was going to be, and then you get the bids, right? Part of that, that's part of your analysis that you give us when you present all the information for the bids.
So the cost estimate is in there, and then the actual bid.
The actual cost estimate is not included in the recommendation of award.
But that,
The amount that we are recommending is included in that letter.
so what's the difference between the recommended amount and the cost estimate?
The cost estimate that I believe she's referring to is our preliminary project estimate before, the project goes into design. And the recommended award is what the low bidder or recommended low bidder is bid on the project.
And Mike, how often is, can I call you Mike? I don't know your, how often is the estimate that the DPW has done deviate significantly from your recommendation?
Not that often.
So it's in the ballpark. So it's as Trevor was saying, it's a starting point, and then you do the analysis, and then you give your recommendation, and then you bump the bids up against that. So it's all part of the process.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Good evening, thank you. My name's Dominic, and I live on Kenilworth. And my question is, and I've heard from a lot of gentlemen about drains, crocks, 10-inch pipes. Can't remember everything that was told. My biggest question is, when a drain breaks, I know my responsibility is from my drain in my basement to the street, to the sidewalk, to the curb. Always confused. So I stopped at the planning commission yesterday, and I asked them, I get these things in the mail, city, Clausen letterhead, on these companies to provide me a monthly or a yearly bill up from $77. I've seen them up to $105. I'm still confused. What is my responsibility? Start and ends. And so if the crock or the drain under that street breaks in the middle of the street, past that sidewalk, is it my responsibility? Or is it my responsibility only to the sidewalk?
I think you have the diagram that
Your responsibility is up to and including the tap to the mainline sewer. So
That could include the street?
correct,
That's up to about $20,000.
correct.
So the city is not responsible for any of that on that pump?
For your sewer lateral, no.
Wow, thank you.
All right. You have a question about the
Yes.
presentation?
Prior to now. So the priorities, I saw that our street was moved, and what was the reason for we were at 10 priority, now we're 12 priority.
So, like I said, there was some grant opportunities that moved a couple projects up, grouping projects together.
Okay.
So there's a couple shifts. John M. was one of those ones that was further down, but John M. was a street that has a lot of lead services on it, so that got moved up for the priority.
So I can count on, though, those new dates is pretty much accurate as far as the 2029, as far as that goes.
Yep.
All right, great.
Hey, so you were talking about with the flooding on Elmsford Drive and how, so it does basically every rainfall back up. And we've had sewage in our basement on that street countless times since the big flood of 14. So with that, not the last planning commissioner meeting, but one of them recently, they were talking about the reservoirs that are gonna be with each of the new businesses and, not new businesses, but the new construction. And backflow installs got brought up. And before, backflow installs were not recommended, but are they recommended now? Like on Elmsford Drive?
So what a backwater valve does, it's a one-way valve that only allows sewage to exit your home. And then if there was a surcharge or essentially a flap comes down and closes it.
Right.
I don't know who said that they weren't allowed. I would recommend it.
Okay. I thought I had heard that before the recommendation was to not have them. Maybe I misunderstood.
I would
But
strongly
on a-
recommend to have it to protect your property.
On Elmsford Drive, where the sewage backup happens more frequently than more of our neighbors, I would say. Okay, thank you.
I would, strongly recommend backwater valves to protect your property.
And then do we have any sort of programs for residents to, like if more residents were to install the backflow? So that way, if one resident who were to call and say that they had sewage backup, right? But the rest of the street had the backflow install done, you wouldn't come out for that one person, right? Like you were saying, because of,
It's not necessarily that we don't come out. We treat every, so what we would do at a normal call that we have a water in a basement, we would go and we would pop manhole covers on either side of that house to make sure that our mainline sewer is flowing.
okay,
If we see something outside of, all right, there's not a lot of flow or something looks wrong, then we would further investigate that. We could drop a camera in and actually look, but typically if that mainline sewer is flowing, it's not going to be our problem.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Andrea, and I live here. Not big on public speaking, but here I am. Thank you for being here and for talking about applying for grants. I did not know that, and I appreciate that you shared that with the residents. We don't know what we don't know. I think not applying for grants kind of applies to maybe some other departments or things going on in the city, not necessarily the DPW. I appreciate everything you guys do for us. Let's see, what was my comment? How did I what she said? When I first moved to Clawson, I was away on vacation because these things only happen when you're on vacation. And my house sitter, didn't tell me, but my basement backed up because we had heavy rains while I was gone.
Yep.
And I called. I was upset. I didn't know this about Clawson when I moved here. So I was baptized in my basement problems then and was told there was nothing that anybody could do about it. And I was kind of out of luck and it was my own problem. And so I don't ever call now. So I think the fact that maybe you don't get calls isn't because it's not happening. It's because people gave up and they're exhausted and they're like, well, nobody's going to do anything. Why would I call? So maybe the call would be to our neighbors to call. Would that be
I
recommended?
mean, if there's multiple homes on a street, I would suggest calling the DPW, letting them know that, hey, we had a backup, we had water in our basement coming out of the floor drains. One of the big things too about calling us for issues like that is where exactly is the water coming from? Because we've had calls before where it's pouring in the walls.
Oh no, that's a different.
So
yeah.
typically that is groundwater or your weeping tiles around the base of your house are full or plugged or damaged or broke. But like sewage coming up from your floor drain or into wash tubs or things like that, we need to know that kind of information so we can then plot it on a map, see if there's multiple homes, go out and investigate.
Okay, so we just need to let you know every time that happens if that's going on. Okay, everybody heard that. Make your phone calls. And I just kind of anecdotally, I do property management, and I asked our plumber about one of those backflow preventers, and he said, don't do that because then your groundwater is going to start affecting your foundation in your basement. So he recommended that I not put one of those in. So I don't know, I mean, water in the basement or long-term damage to my foundation, I don't know if that would cause damage to the foundation if
the groundwater isn't going into your
it's from the
sewer.
Right, okay. I don't know, that's what he told me, so just don't put it in.
So essentially, your sewer is a one-way highway to our street. So the groundwater he's talking about, that wouldn't make its way into that pipe anyway.
That couldn't affect, it wouldn't make the water, that backflow preventer wouldn't make the water kind of surround my foundation and cause any damage to that. Okay, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
My name's Bonnie. I live in Clawson. My question is on the residential taps.
Yep.
My house is like 100 years old. It's got lead. It's got cast iron. You said there is going to be, if the taps are busted or need repair, that we are responsible for that.
Yep.
And that we'd be getting a letter and there would be some kind of a timeline for the repairs. What kind of timeline are you talking? I mean, are we going to get a notice that we have to have it fixed in a month or a year?
I think we were talking 90 days.
I could swear it sounds like you're commingling your water service line and your sewer line. You said tap. Are you commingling those two?
I don't know.
Because you were talking about a notice being sent out.
So two different
I'm
things.
talking about the ones that you're telling me that it's gonna cost between $80
So
and
if you have a lead service water line, that is the responsibility of the city to replace according to Eagle, which is the state. The state tells us that we have to replace any lead service line from the main to the meter. Now, if you have lead inside your home or galvanized plumbing inside your home, that would be on you to fix, but the rest of it. Now, for the sewer aspect of it, if you are one of these 102 possible notices that are going out, there's, you have a root issue or a distended tap or a tap that's broken away from the mainline sewer, you would get a notice from us. I believe we were talking about a 90-day period that would need to be repaired.
So she already knows that she has an issue. She's
Well-
not one of those people that are going to get a
Well,
notice.
here's not, so if we have issues along our mainline sewer and her tap is incorporated in our issues, that will get repaired with our mainline sewer.
So, but she already knows she has a lead line issue.
Lead-
So she knows that she's not one of the people you're going to notify, right?
I don't know if
Let-
it's water or sewer.
Yeah, so two different things. So lead is water, taps, sewer taps is completely different. So if you get a notice from us, that would be a sewer tap that is outside of one of our programs. And that
Well, I
would,
got the letter that wanted me to take a picture.
so that would be your lead, that would be your lead service, your water service. So,
Okay, so that's your the city's responsibility.
so we need to get a picture of your internal
You got
plumbing.
that.
So from that, we are going to either fix those lead services with a water replacement program, or most likely, because we were gonna have so many, we're gonna have to create another program where it's just lead service replacement.
But
So
that's not gonna be my responsibility.
that is not your responsibility, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for entertaining the opportunity for the residents to ask questions. I think that was very valuable. I'm going to go ahead and close public questions for the presentation. Any closing comments? You're done?
One more question. Did you win?
My team played very well. We don't keep score.
All right.
We won.
Thank you for all the work that went into that presentation and entertaining all the questions. And I think we are ready to move on to the meat of our agenda tonight, and that is item 8A, consideration of approving the following consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. Appointment of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the South Oakland County Water Authority, SACWA, for terms to expire June 30th, 2027. Appointments of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the Southeastern Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority, SACRA, for terms to expire June 30th, 2027. And the list of bills in the amount of $1,999,806.22.
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
All right, we have just approved the consent agenda, and we are moving on to consideration of the fourth quarter budget amendments for fiscal 2025-2026.
Madam Mayor, I move that the fourth quarter budget amendments effective as 6/30/2026 encumbrances for unspent capital for the fiscal year 2025-2026 be approved as presented.
Support.
Mr. Ricker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Per the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, PA 2 of 1968, 141.437, Section 17, subsection 1, except as otherwise provided in Section 19, a deviation from the original General Appropriations Act shall not be made without amending the General Appropriations Act. Subject to Section 16, subsection 2, the legislative body of the local unit shall amend the General Appropriations Act as soon as it becomes apparent that a deviation from the original General Appropriations is necessary and the amount of the deviation can be determined. An amendment shall indicate each intended alteration in the purpose of each appropriation item affected by the amendment. A summary of the budget amendment is as follows. General Fund 101. The net impact on the budget amendments will change the amended budgeted deficit of $1,294,505 to an amended budget deficit of $1,079,105. Major Street Fund 202. The net impact of the budget amendments will not impact the amended fund balance deficit of $211,888. The Local Street Fund 203. The net impact of the budget amendments will not impact the amended fund balance deficit of $22,385. Downtown Development Authority Fund 248. The net impact of the budget amendments will change the amended budget surplus of $16,650 to a deficit of $1,050. Library Fund 271. The net impact of the budget amendments will create a budget deficit of $52,762 to an amended budget deficit of $77,760. Water and Sewer Fund 592. The net impact of the budget amendments increases the retained earnings deficit from $311,895 to $347,295. The estimated working capital deficit is $31,500, with a total working capital estimated at $2,391,144. Motor Equipment Fund 667, the net impact of the budget amendments will change the original budget surplus from $13,050 to a surplus of $65,050. Director Ryan Tracy is present for discussion. All other funds have been reviewed and do not need additional budget amendments at this time.
Director Ryan Tracy.
Yes. Mayor?
So just to put this in somewhat of layman's terms, this is essentially closing out the old year with like final, where everything landed at the end of the year before we start the new year. Is that a oversimplified explanation of what happened?
It was well put. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, Councilmember Duberstein.
I have no questions at this time.
Councilmember Peltonen.
No, none for me.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
No questions.
Councilmember Slawinski.
No questions.
Councilmember Spisak.
No questions from me.
Councilmember Tinley.
No, of a rarity, I don't have a question.
All right. If there's no questions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen.
Yes.
All right, we have just approved all of the fourth quarter budget amendments for fiscal year 2025-2026. Thank you very much. Our next item is consideration of selecting a delegate and alternate to the Southeast Michigan Community of Governments, SEMCOG. I think we need a motion for a discussion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we have a discussion to appoint Trevor Zablonski.
No, these are us. So that's what.
It's an acronym.
Yep.
You're on the wrong thing.
So I move that we have a discussion about the appointing the delegates to the and the alternate to the Southeast Michigan Community of Governments.
Support.
Mr.
Consideration of selecting a delegate to the Southeast Michigan Community of Governments, SEMCOG. Each SEMCOG member community appoints a delegate who must be an elected official and an alternate, which can be an elected official, a staff, or an individual selected by member to the General Assembly. The General Assembly provides input and takes action on SEMCOG's major regional plans, budgets and dues, and election of SEMCOG officers. Delegates and/or alternates are expected to attend 3 General Assembly meetings each year that are held in March, June, and October. The meetings offer an opportunity to learn about SEMCOG initiatives and network with other members and SEMCOG staff. The next General Assembly meeting is Thursday, June 25th.
So
I currently am the alternate.
Okay, so you're
I can be replaced.
you're the alternate. We need a delegate who's available. And what's the time of that?
don't have the time on.
Is it an evening thing or a day thing?
It's usually an afternoon thing.
Okay, so who's available on Thursday, June 25th in the afternoon to hang out with Mr. Riker at this soiree?
Are you asking just who's available?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to talk about who we can send, right? Like, I'm gonna be in Chicago for my son's wedding.
I just had one question on clarification, just because I'm particular with words. So this says must be elected official, and it says elected twice, but we have two people that were appointed. Does that make any difference?
Ooh, good question.
I think the intent is that you're holding an elected office.
Okay.
Like, I am an appointed official, you guys are elected officials.
Okay. All right.
If it's in the afternoon, Madam Mayor, I can be available. I may have to leave a little early because I also have a flight to catch that evening.
So, I therefore move that we appoint Councilmember Duberstan as delegate and Mr. Riker as the alternate to the Southeastern Michigan Community of Government SEMCOG.
Support.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein?
Abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak?
Yes.
Excellent. We have appointed our the delegates and the alternate to the Southeastern Michigan Community of Governments. Thank you very much. We appreciate you stepping forward, as no one was rushing to volunteer for that.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, moving on. Consideration of contract for legal services for the 3M DuPont public drinking water settlements.
Madam Mayor, I move that the City of Clawson participates in the 3M and DuPont Public Drinking PFAS AFFF settlements and authorize an execution of the legal service agreement by the city manager be approved as presented.
Support.
Mr. Riker, you doing this one?
Madam Mayor, per the city attorney's attached letter, this action is a request of council for the city to potentially benefit from the nationwide aqueous film forming foam AFFF products liability litigation pending in the U.S. District Court for the District of South Carolina. AFFF firefighting foam is the primary source of PFAS, known as forever chemicals, contamination in public drinking water. To resolve claims by public water systems, 3M agreed to pay up to approximately $12.5 billion, and DuPont agreed to pay approximately $1.185 billion. Together with the related Tyco and BASF settlements, more than $14 billion has been made available to public water systems nationwide. The city attorney is present for further discussion and questions.
So I have a question out of the gate, and this is relative to the letter that you wrote. And so when you talk about the pure contingency fees and the fee amount and the cost expense and the limited scope, can you explain, so if there's, I get if there's, we don't get anything, we don't owe anyone anything. But let's say we get, for simplicity's sake, we get $300,000. So tell me what happens if we get $300,000.
We get we get to pay a contingency fee on it pursuant to that agreement, which is the 1/3.
Okay.
Right, it goes out to the attorneys, plus whatever costs and expenses they may have. Usually they're tacked on top per that agreement, and then the balance gets sent to us in a lovely little check.
So we could get an award.
Yes.
But it could all get eaten up by the tax, the tax and or the expenses and all that kind of stuff, and we could end up with very little, theoretically.
No, ma'am. Now, it depends on the cost of litigation, right? There could be cost to this litigation that is, that could theoretically end up being precisely that, but given the explanation in the fee and everything else that's stated out there, there is no way that the costs here would be, because there would be allocated, of course, right, among all the communities. It wouldn't be charged Clawson $500,000, GLWA $500,000, the same $500,000. It would be appropriate. It would be broken up pro rata over the
From
larger.
the big thing, they take all that off the big thing and then divvy it, oh, sorry, and then divvy it up amongst everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you know how they are going to decide, like a little city like Clausen, like what our percentage?
Pro rata, I imagine they have a pro rata share pursuant to the larger whole.
Based on use of water, or do you know what?
I believe so, but I don't know.
Okay.
That one I don't know.
Okay, all right, cool. Councilmember? Oh, do you know?
Thank you.
But I was leaving. Yeah, the amount we would receive would be based off flow rate.
Of water?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Excellent.
there is a table out there. I don't think it's something we need to share, but it kind of shows. I don't know where we fall in
Oh,
flow
that's,
rate.
yeah, I actually had that highlighted also, the flow rate. So do we know where we are on that flow rate?
Not sure.
Okay, so, but that's how whatever our
That
flow rate.
determines where we would, how much we would get.
Okay, all right. Could we find out, like, just out of curiosity, what our flow rate,
I
what is
can-
a flow rate? Flow rate's usage?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right.
So, yeah, we can find out. I could
I
go
mean,
back
I'd
to the
just be
office and find
curious
out right
to
now,
see.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, are we
I
gonna
haven't
get, there's, $36,000, or there's $170 million at the other end? I would just like to know where we fall on that spectrum, just out of curiosity. Somewhere between that.
I would guess we're in the lower quarter.
You think so?
Yeah.
So maybe the lower left, is that where you think we are? Okay, so even still, that's, $555,000. I'll buy some shoes. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right.
Now I'm actually going to go home to my kids.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it. There's no, no. Sorry. Councilmember Duberstand.
I have nothing at this time.
Councilmember Peltonen.
No, I was just going to ask, so there's no downside really to doing it?
No, there is no downside.
Perfect.
Mayor Pro-Tem Rourke. Councilmember Slawinski.
I have no questions.
Councilmember Spishak.
No questions from me.
Councilmember Tinlin.
No questions.
Awesome. Roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Awesome. We have just approved the legal contract for the 3M DuPont Public Drinking Water Settlements. Moving on to consideration of FY 2026-2027 goals and objective measurables.
Madam Mayor, I move that the 2026-2027 goals and objective measurables be received and filed.
Support.
Mr. Ricker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Vitrino Consulting was retained at the January 20th, 2026 City Council meeting to facilitate the establishment of goals and objectives for City Council and the administration. Those goals and objectives were approved at the April 7th, 2026 Council meeting with the administration to bring back measurables at the first meeting in June. Mr. Vitrano was retained to assist in the development in this development and was unavailable for the June 2nd meeting. However, he is with us today. James Vitrano is present to provide additional context and guidance.
Mr. Vitrino. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. For this evening, you have before you, you've already made your motion to receive it. And I applaud the council and the manager for beginning the process way back at the beginning of the year. This is the next step in it. And as noted, and hopefully the color coding made sense when you reviewed the packet, you have the goal in the deep blue, the light blue is a primary objective, and the purple is the new ad. That's the action, along with when that action would be measured. I see this as a document that hopefully Clausen will use year over year, and that the measurables become more and more, or the actions and measurables become more and more quantitative rather than qualitative. And that will come with time as the city identifies data it wishes to capture in order to report back to the elected officials that these policy objectives that you've set are moving forward through quantitative data. Now, you're not alone. Most cities don't have great quantitative data to measure some of the quality of life services that they're providing. But those efforts should go underway. You always have to balance, you can't have your folks collecting data all day and not providing services to individuals. That balance. You just had a really great public works presentation this evening, and those individuals have to go out and do the work. If they're always quantifying the work that they're doing, they're not going to actually do the work. The easiest example that I often use is a pothole. You want the pothole filled. Be nice to know how much, how many, and all of that is interesting information to capture, but that's one less pothole that's filled later down the street because you're capturing the information. So there's a balance there. And I think Clausen is at the very beginning of, with your goals, objectives, turning them into measurables and actionables, starting to collect and focus that data. The actionables, the purple area, that's owned by the city manager in your form of government. Certainly, I'm sure he's welcome to feedback, particularly if you believe that it's not necessarily capturing what you thought was in the primary objective. You can give that to him, certainly, but just like the policy matters are in your court and he gives you recommendations, and sometimes you take them and sometimes you don't, these action items really are part of the administration's role. And then you can adjust the objectives or the goals as you go into your exercise at the beginning of your budget process next year to maybe clarify or make more precise what you captured. So that was a long intro into the project itself. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I did work with staff on 2 meetings we had, along with several emails on ideas for ways to capture the data or that could be presented, or I'm sorry, the actions that could be presented to fulfill the primary objectives. Happy to answer any questions.
My first question is, how do we bridge the chasm between qualitative and get to quantitative?
Yeah, my advice is if there's 1 or 2 areas, very specific primary objectives, the light blue, if there's 1 or 2 that the policymakers can identify as this one we would like to figure out how to get quantitative data, that's a conversation probably beyond this meeting, but a conversation to have. I wouldn't try and, there's 30 action items included in this report. You're not going to go from 0 to 30. So my suggestion is you start with 1 or 2 or 3, and then you can add year over year, again, keeping in mind the balance between data collection and service provided. But that's my suggestion, Mayor. If 1 or 2 are identified, then the manager can identify ways to collect data on those.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Duperstand.
No questions.
And welcome.
Councilmember.
Thank you.
Peltonen.
I just wanted to make sure I understand. So you're saying we would identify which ones we wanted to make more specific, like kind of naturally as things go on, or we decide like as a body?
Yeah, to me, this is the manager's report back to you on how he will try and capture the policy actions that are happening. If you have a suggestion, and hopefully the numbering makes sense, where it's goal 2, primary objective 2, that you think there could be a data capture for that, I think individually you would send a note to the manager and say, I think there could be a data capture there. Can you consider adding it to it, or changing it, or adjusting it, or suggestions of how you might capture that data? That's how I would react to this if you provide that information to him. And then if, depending on reaction or a change, then it could come back to the body and he can report.
I see. Thank you.
Sure.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Councilmember Slawinski.
No questions from me.
Thank you.
Councilmember Spisak.
No questions for me.
Councilmember Tinlin.
I'm looking at the clock too, but just a quick question, because what you were doing with at least what the administration's objectives were, you cascaded them down to the employees. Where are we at in that phase now? Have they given feedback what they think they can do versus the ones, the goals and objectives we set out for the city admin?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll actually defer to the city manager. I think the question is, now that these action items are in place, next step, of course, is to work with your staff to make sure that they're achieved. I think that would be, is that your question,
Yep.
Scott, where you are in that? And probably it's after this evening on presentation and filing.
Well, I think also, like right now, in the past, the practice has been the goals and objectives were tied to my evaluation. We had some brief conversations of how we may decouple that and have them in two separate formats. So I've always been looking at it from that lens, like as it's been part of my evaluation. I'm open to some ideas that he's shared about decoupling that. So to build off of what James has shared, there are a couple items in here where we would do preliminary work this year that would further add to refinements for next year's goals and objectives. So that early preliminary building has started, but I don't have anything for you as of yet.
Okay, I just wanted to understand that process has started, and that's good, right? And just on quantitative data, because that's what I do for a living, is you can have death by analysis, right? You're so caught up in the data collection.
And that was very specific to the data collection points. We talked about various surveys that we could exercise to collect data.
But I have a few ideas that have come up, like, code enforcement events and stuff like that, that there's probably a data pool for. So as we kind of progress with this, I know as a council we'll talk about that. All right?
And those are good ideas. And again, I encourage you to engage with your manager on an individual basis if you have specific suggestions, but then bring ideas to each other, particularly in those settings where you have more informal discussions, budget sessions, goals and objective sessions. But two thoughts. One thing that in working with your manager, there are some really good survey tools available, whether it's the ICMA provides a community survey or Oakland University actually has a very good survey that it does for communities, and it compares with other communities, so of like. That's a really good data source in terms of, are your citizens satisfied with your public safety? Are your citizens satisfied with the roads? And you can start to comp that and then have an action item. Currently, we're at 87% of people like our snow plowing in the city of Clawson. That'd be an outstanding score if that was your score. Our goal would be, because we're really focused on that as a policy priority, to get it to 90. And then the manager can say, okay, great. Now I need to go to my folks and see, does that mean more trucks? Does that mean more overtime? Does that mean we're not using the right truck? So that's where the data can start to help, but it starts with identifying these sources, whether it's ones that you've suggested or those community surveys are very good, at least for the qualitative measures of, are we satisfying our residents? And what I like what I like most about those two is it's in comparison. So you're going to compare yourself to other people, other communities, either in Oakland County or in the state of Michigan, and say, okay, nobody likes how their streets are being plowed, but we're particularly less than. And that's because you can't compare how's my public safety versus my parks versus my street maintenance. It's very tempting to say, how's my citizens comparing those three things? They're not comparable because people have a natural inclination to like some and not like others, but they are perfectly comparable to another community where the same exact scientific survey was done. So that's a start of data collection. I do think there are a couple in here that are already data-driven, very few. But again, talking with the manager about this is the first step in building on future years. And for the moment, his report back is due along with his evaluation time period. I do suggest that conversation continue, because these are goals for the community, not necessarily just for the manager. It can be incorporated in there somehow, but the coupling that you've done historically, you keep the process this year, but I do think it's worth a conversation later that these are your goals, his actions as a team, as opposed to just something you're evaluating him on. So that was our conversation, and happy to offer suggestions there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Seeing nothing else, roll call, please.
Councilmember Duberstein?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen? Yes. Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilor Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes. All right, we have just received and filed the goals and objective measurables for 26-27. Our next item on our agenda is unfinished business, which we have none. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for public comment for items not on the agenda. If you're here for public comment for items not on the agenda, I invite you to the podium. We ask that you state your name and whether or not you're a resident of our fair community. We will give you 4 minutes to speak. And thank you.
Hi, Sue.
Just come a little closer, maybe.
I want to know if it's possible for the city to make a law for just in the city for people that are under 18 on motorized vehicles that they must wear a helmet. These kids are crazy on these things. Some of them are only like this tall, like 3 feet tall. They're zooming all over the place, usually in packs, and it's gotten way out of control. And I'm not an old fogey. I appreciate the, that they can like not use their legs and pedal, okay? But it's got to stop. It's become a problem, especially backing out of driveways, because they don't care. They're too young and stupid to care. It's like I was that way. I get it, but something has to be able to be done to protect the city and the motor vehicle drivers from these kids.
Thank you. Thank you. And I left off my my diatribe at the beginning because you came up to the podium that it's not a back and forth, but we will make a note of any questions you ask and try and address them later in the meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Next thing is, we're talking about the sewers being redone. The corner of Bywood and Leroy, that's where you started, correct?
It's not a back and forth, but we'll get this addressed.
So they started there, but further down Bywood between Leroy and school, there is a low area that always accumulates water. Like any storm, we're going to have a couple feet of water. Is that going to be among the fixes or not? I don't see it specifically. I read through the stuff, but I'm just curious. If you can get back to me at another time, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Point of order, she didn't give her name. I didn't catch.
Oh, did you say your name? I didn't see your name.
Yeah,
Karen.
I will be fast. I'm Teresa Jackson. I live on North Washington by the school. I can second that there are kids on motorized vehicles all over there. But anyway, my question is, so I'm trying to understand about this traffic calming thing that's going on. I live right by the high school, so Phillips is like oh, thank goodness, I can take this road. And I'm looking at where the barricades are up, and I'm just trying to understand. And my question is there going to be an opportunity, like, it's kind of hard to figure out who's running the initiative. Like, I heard it's planning and kid council's involved, so I just want to know if there's going to be an opportunity to, like, hear about it and, what are they going to do and what's the cost going to be, because I'm listening to our costs of, with inflation and all this other stuff and things that we had promised to do, and I'd hate to start doing something else, and I'm not sure why we're doing it either. So that's why I'm hoping there'll be some event sometime to hear about what's the whole story.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for listening. And may I say, this has been a great meeting. Good job, everyone.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and City Council, I am Pam Weaver with the Clausen 4th of July Committee again. The reason that I'm here is for actually two things. We do have a kiddie parade coming up on June 27th, and it is at 11 o'clock, and we take off from Phillips and Washington. And we go down Phillips and then head down Custer to the park. And one of the things that we would really love to see of either council members or the city, for them to come and line up and support. We've got over 100 to 150 kids that participate in this and really spend the time to decorate bikes and trikes, wagons, and we would just love to see everybody out there as much as possible cheering for these kids. And then they get to the park, and we offer like a little concession thing for them. They all get ribbons. This year we're doing something, we've got a climb wall, and we also have like a chalk and face painting this year for the 250th celebration. So we'd love to see as many people that can come out and support all these kids that are celebrating Independence Day for our city. And my next thing, of course, is volunteers are needed. For the festivities, of course, it's not going to happen without volunteers. Again, we work hard all year long to bring concert in the park, the kiddie parade, the races, Arts and Crafts Festival and the Carnival. We're asking our little city with the heart, big heart, for about 2 hours of time for our volunteers at our gates on July 3rd and or the 4th. And we're looking for about 25 people to cover about 9 shifts, most of which are going to be really taking place on the 4th. The responsibilities include collecting park admission fees, handing out wristbands, and then just to make clear, we do have security guards at each gate to enforce our park rules if necessary. And then we do provide water and snacks for people that are working that. Then as a thank you, our volunteers are treated to a complimentary dinner at Los Gallos Cochina Restaurant on 14 Mile Road. We're doing that Wednesday, July 15th, and all of them are going to be entered into a prize raffle drawing that will take place that evening as well. We're asking you call a friend to see if they want to spend a couple of hours with you volunteering at the 4th of July celebration. And then you can also go to the Clawson 4th of July website, which is Clawson, the number 4, and then TH of July to volunteer. We also have banners around town and different flyers and different, the community center here, at the library, and different places that also have a QR code and other information about this. So we're really encouraging everybody to come out and support us. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Gills, Takanochi, Clawson resident. At the last meeting, I spoke a lot about the residents of Clawson and the impact the decision that you made would have on their lives. Tonight, I want to focus on the process that was used to get to this decision. What concerns me is that the only option that seems to have been fully developed is a sale. Before asking voters whether the city should authorize the sale of Renshaw, I would have expected to see the same effort put into exploring ways to preserve it. If that work was done, the public deserves to see it. ADA compliance has been raised as a significant concern. Renshaw was built before modern accessibility standards, and I have not seen evidence that the city pursued available funding for improvements. Oakland County has programs just for this purpose. If those opportunities were explored, the public should know. If not, that's an important gap. My next focus is whether a full range of alternatives was actually explored before the discussion narrowed to a sale. I am curious about what other alternatives were explored over the past year or more since this has come up. Were housing partners, nonprofit operators, or professional management companies ever engaged? If so, what was learned? If not, why not? Another concern raised was the absence of income requirements. If this is viewed as a problem, was there ever a discussion about implementing eligibility standards instead of selling the building? If so, why was that option rejected? If not, why was it not considered? Before I close, I want to come back to the people who actually live there. I also wonder whether the impact on the residents themselves was ever formally evaluated as part of this process. Clinical and geriatric care literature is very clear that a forced move can be extremely disruptive for older adults. It can increase stress, anxiety, and confusion, and it can contribute to declines in physical health when people lose familiar routines, social connections, and stability. If liability, maintenance costs, administrative burden, and potential sale proceeds were all considered, I think it is fair to ask whether the human impact of displacement was weighed in the same way or at all. My concern is that the public has been presented with a detailed case for selling Renshaw, but not a detailed case for preserving it. Before voters are asked to make a decision of this magnitude, they deserve to know what alternatives were considered, which were rejected, and why. Only then can they make a truly informed decision about the future of Renshaw. Okay, and I have one more comment. Try to get through it real fast. I want to be direct about the Renshaw ballot process. The final ballot language is apparently not coming back to council for review in a public meeting. That's a problem. At the last meeting, the expectation was that council and the public would see the final wording before it was certified. That's not happening, and it changes how transparent this process actually is. Not a minor administrative step. This is the language voters will see when they decide the future of our major city asset. If that language is finalized without council and public review in an open meeting, it creates the appearance that the most important part of the decision is being locked in outside of the public view. The city attorney told us that he would be bringing that language back. I understand that he had misspoke about the process. That shouldn't matter. That language should still come back. That was your expectation. That was our expectation. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Katie Terrell, Clausen resident. I'm going to be mimicking a little bit of what Jamie was just talking about with the Renshaw apartments. The past council votes and many of the Clausen residents have shared the same opinion. Renshaw apartments are invaluable to our community, and I don't believe that that's changed. When I first started having a real conversation about Renshaw, it was by one Glenn Shepard when he was campaigning. And I was telling him about a program I thought would benefit the residents of Clausen with sewage backup issues. Mr. Shepard said, well, if we sell Renshaw apartments, that could be a possibility. Imagine how many people he said that to. He then started talking hypothetically about those who could rent their homes for profit and live in Renshaw and then live in Renshaw apartments. There are many more hypotheticals like that. Then I asked, have you ever met the residents? Have you asked them about this? He said no. Well, I did go to Renshaw. I did ask about these things because it seems many of you are picking up the same attitude towards Renshaw as a man who lost the confidence of the city residents. They love living in Renshaw with their community. They want the questions, so go there and ask them. They certainly don't make a profit off the homes that they previously lived in. They do not complain about what they go without. They're proud to have what they have. Around the same time that you started, Mr. Riker, a bucket was put in before you started, but this incident happened when you started. A bucket was put in the attic over apartment 207 that ended up filling up with water and falling through the ceiling. This was an incident that happened 4 years ago. The gutters being filled and not taken care of for 4 years causes damage to the gutters, to the windows, and at the entrance of the back of the building, it looks as though there could be mold now. It has been observed that the DPW has stopped putting in the work that was previously held, and that they may have more on their plate now. So who's going to do the work? The negligence on the building and the failure of our leadership as acting city manager. What grant opportunities have you tried to secure? What nonprofits have you reached out to? How many maintenance fixes were within reach while you have been thinking about your big round table here in the dais? If you don't want to manage the apartments, and if DPW doesn't have the time, why are you not making solutions instead of creating more liabilities and devaluing city assets? Thank you.
Dominic, a Clausen resident. I just have one question, because I'm very confused about what's going on with Main Street. I got a survey on my phone, I guess it was on the Clausen Facebook, asking a survey. I had a question, I'm sure you've all seen it. Is Main Street proposed to go to one lane? Can you answer that question?
So again, this is not a back and forth, but I have made a note of it, and we'll ask for it during the roundtable of comments.
And will I see feedback on the website?
Don't leave the room. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Andrea, Clausen resident. I've emailed about the road diet and I have completed the survey, but I wanted to make a public comment because last meeting a gentleman came up and said he was in favor of the road diet, but nobody that complains online about the road diet was here to say anything publicly. So here I am. I had a work event this evening, and at 5:30 I had to drive down Main Street. I had to go that way because of where my house is and where the event was. There was no other way. And I sat through the light 3 times out here because of the backup from 14 Mile. And while I was sitting there, as I got towards closer to 14 Mile and I was sitting in the line still, I counted 11 empty parallel parking places at that time. So I don't think we need any extra parallel parking spaces along the side of the road when the ones we have aren't even filled. I can always find a place to park along there when I go downtown. Usually I walk because I want to save those spaces for other people. But if I need to drive because it's too hot or I have to carry things home, I will drive, but I can usually find a spot pretty easily. And I don't think the inconvenience of having to sit through that light 3 times at 5:30 is worth those parking spaces. And if we were down to 1 lane and we had those parallel parking spaces, how many lights would I have had to sit through if somebody was trying to parallel park from the primary lane into the side? If that makes sense. Yes. Okay. Anyway, great meeting. Don't want to just complain. Everybody's doing a great job. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Ryan McDonald, Assistant Superintendent, Clausen DPW. I just want to do one quick correction on a comment that was made. The bucket that was placed above a shower in one of the rooms, this is an accurate statement, but I believe it was before I even had kids. I was the person to respond to that. I had pictures, I tried to find it. It was way before 4 years ago. So just a quick correction. I believe it was in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 years ago that took place. So just thank you.
Is that Bucket Gate? Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Bonnie Clack, I live here. On the road, whatever silly thing you're calling it, I came up to the city hall to ask about it, and I was given some information, but I was not given an opportunity to vote. I don't do social media, and there was no way for me to express my opinion about that other than online. And I'm sure I'm not the only person on earth that is not online. I think that if you're going to have public comments or public feedback, that you need to make it available at the city hall or some other way, so that those of us that are not technologically happy have a way to vote. Because my vote is lost because there was no way for me to do it. So I am asking for paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Hi, I'm Rose, and I'm a Clausen resident. Couple things. One was the girl talking about the battery-operated bikes. I think they should be not allowed through the park in the sports area. I don't know how many times I've seen people go into their kids' baseball games or soccer games or whatever games that they're doing there, almost get hit by those bikers. And they're young kids, teenagers and younger, that are doing it. And I really think they should be not allowed in that specific area of the park. They should have to ride their bikes around. Secondly, the road diet thing. I've been down that street, I don't know how many times a day over the last 2 weeks, the same cars parked out front of the police station. It's staged there. There's parking all around the police department, so you know they're not going anywhere else, right? Then the library, the same car parked there for a couple days in a row. Well, guess what? That car didn't show up the last couple days after I made a remark about it on Facebook. I think that whole idea about this road diet is wrong. It needs to be looked at because people that are trying to get out of the traffic now in Maine are cutting through the subdivisions over to Rochester Road, creating havoc over on Rochester Road. I also think that, you know, when you're driving down here, it is anything but calm. I don't know how that word got thrown in the whole thing. You drive down 14 Mile any given day, from here to past 14 Mile where it's all road diet, those people walk out of the bars, almost open their car doors right into your car as you're going 15 miles an hour down the road and don't even see them till they're opening their door, because that's how quick it happens sometimes. You're looking in all different directions, and it's ridiculous. It's not safe at all. So I think that needs to be brought into consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Sorry, I forgot to ask. The road diet was supposed to end on the 15th of June, according to what I saw online, and it's past that, and I don't know why the cones aren't pulled up yet, so just wondering if that can be addressed. Thank you.
All right, I think everyone who's here has talked, except for you, but, but that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment for items not on the agenda. And that moves us to the city clerk's report.
I'll try to be quick tonight. I just want to mention the appointments once again. We are currently, we have some appointments that will be on the July 7th meeting, which are the ones that are expiring. We do need a couple, we need some applications, we need some involvement. We do have a plan commission vacancy, a board of review vacancy, and a traffic and safety board of vacancies. So get the word out there that we're accepting applications here. You know, they need some involvement, and if you know anybody that might be interested in getting involved, now might be the time. And also just a reminder that the August 4th election is started, the primary election. The absentee ballots will be available starting June 25th. And that's for anybody that wants to come and get one. We will try to have the ballots, the permanent ballots, out to voters as close to that date as possible. We still don't have the ballots in-house yet, but once we do get them, we'll start processing and get them ready to be mailed out. That's all I have tonight.
So just to circle back to the board appointments, we do have one person who did apply for the planning commission. And that one, he had a bunch of stuff, but I did speak to that person about the planning commission. They're going to make a decision by Friday if that's what they want to apply for. But if anyone else is interested in the planning commission, please, 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 please submit your application. And then what was the other one?
We have the traffic and safety board and the board of review.
Traffic and safety and board of review are the other two. Thank you. Councilmember Slawinski, you look like you had a question.
That was my question.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry.
Was there one for the library board?
We have some appointments scheduled for July 7th. So we have applications for those and reappointments that will be coming before you at the first meeting in July.
All right. Looking this way. No other questions? Thank you very much. City Attorney's report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of comments based on the statements made. The gentlelady is absolutely correct. I gave you some wrong information at the last meeting, which I then subsequently corrected with those of you, which was that we needed to have the ballot language submitted to the Attorney General. I subsequently stated to you, no, we don't. I was merely, in my mind, under the effect of Dayquil. I was telling you that I was replicating the process that we engaged in our prior charter, which was obviously not correct. The correct process is we read the language, the proposed language to you for the ballot at the last meeting. You voted for it. Then the city clerk takes that language and produces it on the ballot. To state that somehow there's lack of transparency in that process where we actually read the language out loud, I don't know that I would agree with that. Nonetheless, I think what we'll do is we'll make sure that it's submitted for your next meeting so that you have it, just to make sure that there's nothing, that everything is done. You have received it publicly, I suppose, even though you received it and you voted on it. But just for the sake of it, we'll include it. Now, the second topic for purposes of the questions uttered was with respect to motorized vehicles. When it comes to motorized vehicles, we have, with the chief of police and the detectives in the Bureau and the rest of administration, we've been talking about it for some time. There's actually quite a bit of law on the area. We haven't come up with an ordinance because we have the Michigan Vehicle Code has, and I'm looking at the email exchanges that we had over time, has section 257.660, which deals with this area. And they've basically occupied the field. There, we can always, where there is a shortcoming somewhere, we can ordain, council can ordain obviously around the area and chip away at the margins. In our conversations, internal conversations, we haven't necessarily identified any such area per se, which is why it hasn't come to you. The city, the officers have dealt with issues. I know there was an accident right here in front of City Hall earlier in the year from one such motorized scooter of some sort. But we're still operating within 257.660, which is the state law. That may change. I'll touch base with the chief again to see if her opinion on the matter has changed in any way, shape, or form, and we can always come back to you with respect to further ordinance considerations.
So I have a question. I understand passing a law would definitely be under everything you just said.
Yes.
But as far as maybe prohibiting them at the park or prohibiting them in certain areas of the city, that would be an ordinance, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So that's something that could,
Well, but
go ahead.
If I may, for example, the law that we have, and I'll share this with you so the council has an appreciation for it, but it defines where the motorized vehicles can operate in.
Oh, does it?
So I'm not
Okay.
at all sure, on the contrary, actually, I shouldn't use euphemistic language. I don't see how they can be at the park
Oh,
based on the law here. So the solution may not be in that scenario that we pass a new ordinance, but rather than we enforce current existing law. Just food for thought.
and this is me not knowing about the ways of the world. These aren't like there's a senior gentleman who lives across the street, and he's got a scooter that he gets around on. It's not that, it's like the electric, what used to be like a Razor scooter, but now it's electric. Is that what it is?
I'll read you at least one section to give you a sense of basically what this covers. So under section 1, it says a person operating an electric personal assistive mobility device, comma, low-speed vehicle, comma, electric skateboard, comma, or moped upon a roadway. And it continues, right? So it covers the entire
all of
breadth.
that, then.
It's all encompassing. And that's why we haven't come back to council with anything, or we're sort of constantly staring at it. Obviously, it feels as if every other day there's a new kind of quote-unquote vehicle, but the motor vehicle code, which we've adopted, the state does a pretty decent job at, through, the legislature does a pretty decent job at updating that, fairly routinely. And they've stayed ahead of the times for all intents and purposes. So by definition, so have we, because of our adoption of it. There's always room to do more, and if this becomes, if we see ongoing issues, obviously we're going to have to address them. But in our assessment so far, we have these parameters, and my suggestion would be to continue enforcing. But like I said, I will check with the chief, and then we'll come report next time.
I have one more question, and this might not be under your purview to comment, but if someone's being inundated by kids on the street, they certainly could call the non-emergency line and talk to them about that sort of thing, to have someone come out and take a look at it,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So that would be the remediation for something like that.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Okay, cool. Any other questions this way?
I guess just to chime in while we're talking about that, I guess my biggest concern with these is on sidewalks in and around downtown. And I know other towns around, maybe Birmingham there's some towns that outlaw bikes on sidewalks in downtowns. So I don't know if that's something we can explore, because when you got somebody coming up behind you going 30 miles an hour, it's kind of intimidating and a safety hazard. So I don't know if you can look into that.
Happy to do so. I see the, I don't know.
I actually had a conversation about that with the DDA director today about that
Okay.
concern.
Good.
So,
Okay,
and I've
thank you.
actually my car has been hit by someone traveling on
They're
one of
fast.
these things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know, I can relate.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else this way? All right, thank you very much. Moving on to city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The North Main Street Road Diet Pilot Program is ongoing through the end of this week. The public survey will remain open until the end of the month. We ask the public for candid feedback, but to please keep an open mind when it comes to the consideration of traffic calming, increased safety, and greater parking options for our business and patrons. And for a moment, I'll toss to Nick. He has some comments on this.
Yes. So if the mic goes out, Mr. McDonald may have used all the juice, so I can move up to the podium. So I'll just try and address a couple of comments made. And so I just want to emphasize that this has always been a temporary pilot just to study and see how it was, to get public feedback and to study it. And so I think we've...
Yep, go ahead.
So again, we've always tried to market this as a pilot program, even when we were applying for the grant through the county. And so this was 80% funded through a grant that we received through Oakland County Access to Transit. And so this is exactly what we've been trying to do. I feel like we've been marketing it well, just to indicate that it's a pilot, temporary, no decision has been made. And so we've been gathering the survey results for about 2 weeks now, and it'll be going until the end of the month. And so I did speak with Ms. Bonnie here at City Hall last week, and we do have hard copies here to do. And I believe I may have shared that with you. If I didn't, I apologize, but I'll make sure to talk to her after the meeting. And then for folks that wanted the hard copies, just deliver them back to the City Hall or the library, and then we'll upload them into the data on the form. Ideally, we'll gather the data from the survey results and then the traffic volume study, and then likely present that back to council end of July, early August, depending on timelines and meeting what else is on the agenda. Present the data to you. The ask would nowhere near to be to make a request to do it. It's more or less, here's the information, presented it to you. This is a concept that the Downtown Development Authority has been working on for well over 5 years. It's been part of our master plan, a downtown master plan, and it has been to study what this would look like. And so I don't know if these traffic cones really show exactly what the road diet would do. I think it just gives the illusion of it. And so, yes, we've had some folks parking there. And again, it's just to encourage it, to show people what it would look like if this did happen on North Main Street. And so, again, encourage everyone to take the survey results, stop by to ask questions. I know I've spoken to a few people on the phone that weren't happy. And then once talking, they understood that this was truly just temporary pilot. And I guess that's kind of all I have, unless there's any questions.
Would it be possible, I know you posted in a couple places about the QR codes right for the survey, or you have the link.
The link, yes.
The link for the survey. Could you include, update the verbiage to say, I guess it's kind of stupid, because if they can see that, they're online, but how do we get the word out there, right,
Yeah.
that there's this hard copy? Right?
So we'll repost the link for folks that haven't taken it yet or that didn't see it on their feed, and remind them that they can get it at the library or City Hall.
All right, yeah, so maybe having it at the library or whatever. I'm just thinking of how to get the word out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And you know what, I will note too that if people aren't comfortable just dropping the survey off, I don't mind sitting there and doing the survey online with them, or if they want to see the data be input. I know sometimes it might be uncomfortable. I just want to make sure people feel comfortable dropping off their survey results.
Okay.
Because again, it is intended to be anonymous.
Any questions this way? That way, Mr. Riker, do you have more to say?
So I do not have a construction update since Ryan covered it earlier. Reminder that city government buildings will be closed on this Thursday, June 18th, in observation of Juneteenth, federal holiday, and the city offices will also be closed on Thursday, July 2nd, in observation of Independence Day, also a federal holiday. In preparation for our nation's 250th anniversary, the administration created a commemorative hallway off the west entrance of the City Hall. We are inviting our residents to participate in the Pride and Patriotism Country and Community Collage of photographs. We ask residents to bring in or send photos of themselves, family, pets, houses with the American flag or commemorative semi-quincentennial flag, 250 flag. Doesn't have to be, can be any variety. If you want to place the picture yourself, we ask you come with a copy of your photo and use the red, white, and blue push pins that are located in the corkboard, or you can send the photo to info@cityofclawson.com and staff will print it out and place it for you. Please use the subject line Clawson Community Collage when sending your picture. Again, via email, the address is info@cityofclawson.com. Just to reiterate, following up on Pam Weaver from the 4th of July Committee, as we are about to embark on another 4th of July season, please visit clawson4thofjuly.com for details on how you can participate and or volunteer to support events that start as early as Wednesday, June 24th through the 4th of July. Again, please visit clawson4thofjuly.com. Congrats to all of our police department awardees and a job well done to the DPW and AEW staff that put together that presentation, and Ryan, great delivery. And last, I'd like to congratulate the DDA director and the DDA. So the DDA director is Director Kristen Urbanik for being recognized by Oakland County Main Street and being awarded the Spirit of Main Street Award, which came with a $2,000 grant. Penny, any questions? That's my report.
Any questions? All right, hearing none. Oh, did you have a question? Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay. One question, last meeting, I'd asked for the yearly expenses for Renshaw, and I haven't seen that yet, so that was just a reminder for it.
I'll put that in the Friday feedback.
Okay, thank you. Then, two other questions. We talked about an ethics joint meeting, maybe May or June. Are we moving that to July, August? Has there been any?
I would defer, I think, Runnis, you spoke about that after attending the ethics meeting?
He already had his turn, no.
Sorry, and I was focusing here, and I apologize. That's why I'm deer in the headlights. Yes, we did. At the last meeting of the ethics board, they expressed such a desire to meet. They've done so for the last couple of meetings. We're basically waiting on council at this point, so thank you for raising the issue. Anytime the council would wish to, we should do so. Obviously, we probably need to get some dates, just some potential dates. I know that in the past, we've had some issues with availability with the board itself.
Do we know when the next meeting is?
We don't have anything scheduled because there's nothing on the agenda per se.
Gotcha, okay.
So we will, whatever dates council would select for it, we would reach out to the
So could we make sure that's on the next agenda as a discussion topic about when to schedule that?
What if we were to approach the members of the ethics board and see if we could bolt them into a meeting that's already a standing meeting for Tuesday, standard first or third Tuesday of the month? You guys are already here.
Yeah.
And we just have it. We'll somehow have the meeting. We'll figure out a way to have it, make it happen.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. We also talked about a Parks and Rec advisory meeting, late May or June.
July 20th. July 20th, they're having I believe it's an open house where there'll be the Parks and Rec Committee through, I believe it's the Smith Group who did the survey, will be, make a presentation of their findings. That was in one of my Friday feedbacks a couple weeks ago.
But I don't think, was that the same thing that we were talking about? Because I thought we were going to meet them, like, as an advisory group. No?
Don't recall anything
Yeah,
like
okay.
that.
Okay. I think that's all I had for
So
you.
I'm sorry, I
Go
said I didn't have any questions, but then I thought there was a gentleman who came up during the water presentation with a question. I forget what it was. You look like you remember.
He's got Nick's contact info.
I gave him my card to contact.
Okay, good, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, I just want to make sure we captured that. All right, anything else for city manager?
I have one. I just was curious, I've heard both from different people if the flat cameras are still up and running or if
Block
they haven't.
cameras have physically been removed.
The flat cameras have physically been removed.
They've left the building.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Are we done with the city manager? All right, moving on. Council comments. Councilmember Duberstand.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple things. I just wanted to shout out a few people. Had wonderful interactions with Sergeant Foley and Jennifer over at the library. Enjoyed some laughs with her. I want to congratulate all the citizens and officers who received awards this evening. I want to thank Ryan for his wonderful work and presentation. Kept me awake. And I also want to give a shout out to Pam and the 4th of July committee. I'm really hoping I can recruit some volunteers and we can have a good time at this thing. So thank you all. That's all I've got.
Councilmember Peltonen. Councilmember Tinlin. Is that you that was crackling all during the meeting? Okay.
Well, I wasn't going to say too much, but just since we were talking about the Renshaw discussion, right?
Even better.
Better, that active. We might have to replace that. Can I just hand wrote this? Oh, boy. Just, there's been a lot of discussion in our community since our last meeting on the Renshaw ballot proposal. And for me, that's a good perspective. There's lots of viewpoints on that. There's lots of people that don't know about it. There's misconceptions. But at the end of the day, I think that majority vote showed that we're just going to give the voters the right to choose, right? And for me, that'll set two passive action. Either when we keep it, we'll get it a better facility, more administrative controls, and if it's a choice to consider sale, then, I've been very public. People aren't getting thrown out. We're not tearing down the building, but then we could start that public planning process to treat the residents right. So I wasn't going to say anything, so this is kind of ad hoc. But again, I am trying to engage the community in the same way. I'm trying to get costs. There's lots of questions about really what the cost is. So the voters need to have factual information so they can make that decision. And that's true transparency, and that's a true democratic process. We're taking that vote to the citizens, and then they'll tell us what they want, and then we get to work.
All right, Councilmember Spishak.
I thought you were going to throw it out of order again.
I don't know. I didn't have dinner. I'm slap happy.
That's okay. I didn't have dinner. Oh, I guess I technically did. Nori, shout out Nori. Thank you to Ryan for your presentation. I really appreciated it. Thank you and congratulations to all the officers and the civilians that won awards. I think that's super cool. 4th of July committee, again, another echo. If you are interested, the next meeting is tomorrow at 7 p.m. here at City Hall in the community room. It's a great way to get involved and participate. You can come hang out with me. We also have the Clawson Chamber Golf outing coming up on July 27th. It's at 8 a.m. shotgun out at Glen Oaks. So if you're interested in participating, there's a lot of fun, cool activities to do, good networking. Ryan always wins every single one of the raffles because he has some weird magic luck. But yeah. No, and definitely shout out to the DDA. If you have not watched the video, make sure to check it out on YouTube and Facebook. It is a super fun video and very proud to see it win an award.
Just keeping you on your toes. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Nothing from me.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Just wanted to update a little bit from becoming the task force leader for the Clawson Public Schools. I'll meet with Billy Schellenberger probably like the first week of July, so I'll have more of an update maybe next meeting. That's all I have.
All right. So I have a couple things. Number one, the DDA hosting the open air markets. There was one last Saturday. I didn't make it to it, but there's another one June 27th. So if you want to, are they going to have the petting zoo on the 27th again?
Yeah, it'll be there for, I think, 11 to 1 is what it's scheduled for right now.
With the goats and the bunny. Okay.
Goats and the
so
bunny.
yep. So come see the goats. Come see the bunny. Buy some stuff. Eat some stuff. It's a good time. So plan your yard work better than I did last Saturday to make sure that you can get out there. I'd also like to add.
I know there's a lot of people that have consternation if they don't see all the elected officials at all the 4th of July events. I love 4th of July. It's my favorite thing, but my youngest son is getting married on June 27th. I'm going to be in Chicago from the 24th until the 29th. So I will not be visible at most of the 4th of July things, and I just felt the need to put that out there. I'm not snubbing anything. I'm just out of town, so I just wanted to share that. Aside from that, what? Oh, yes, and can I share?
Go for it, yeah.
I just want to congratulate our Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke is also getting married on June 27th, and we wish him and his beautiful bride a beautiful day and all the happiness in the world.
You got to give the address too for the party.
And I can't crash it because I'm going to be in my own one. So, all right. Go ahead, Councilmember Swinsky.
I wanted to also mention the farmers at the Clausen Park from 9 to 2 every Sunday. So don't forget that. Stop in. They have a lot of really beautiful vegetables, and that's all. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Aside from that, we've all made our comments. So our next item is consideration of going into closed session for purposes of receiving attorney-client privilege communication regarding the matter of AWA Investment LLC versus the City of Clausen pursuant to MCL 15.268H of the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15-261.
Madam Mayor, I move to go into closed session for the purposes of receiving attorney-client privileged communication regarding the matter of AWA Investment LLC versus City of Clausen pursuant to MCL 15.268H of the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.261.
Second.
All right. We do a roll call to go into the, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein?
Yes.
All right, we have voted to go into closed session. That means that we're going to go sequester ourselves in a room. We'll come out after to close the meeting, but thank you, everyone, for joining us thus far today. All right, we are back.
Madam Mayor? Madam Mayor, I move that the Clawson City Council, having met in the closed session pursuant to MCL 15-286-8E to consult with legal counsel regarding pending litigation, hereby approve the proposed stipulated settlement in Michigan Tax Tribunal docket number 25-001597, AWA Investment LLC versus City of Clawson as outlined in the closed session.
Support.
Roll call, please. Oh, she's needs.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen.
Yes. All right, we have just approved for the city attorney to move forward as outlined. I can get a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I would like to motion for us to adjourn. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Duberstein,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
and Councilmember Slawinski.
Yes.
All right, thank you all who stuck with us. We are adjourned.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because she's been eating stuff out of the drawer. What's the expiration date on that?
Otherwise, I would not